people inquire the country economy. So, right, we get into the discussion, it's been a while. I've been on the IPC meeting that is done with much. Shelly Live with a friend. Let's get into the discussion. So, the first thing I'd like to talk about is a problem that has been ongoing in various parts of the island, in different villages. And you might be wondering why there's so much things that has been going on in Dominica. And what I'm talking about is our management of our garbage. It has come up as an issue in multiple villages, including some of the villages on the east where the village council want to charge separately to pick up trash. But we have to remind ourselves that everything coming on the island is subject to a 2%. Is 2% island?
How much the
What is that?
The environmental levy is 2%.
I think it's more than that.
It's more than that, more than 2%?
I think so. Just not half.
I'm checking it, I'm confirmed. Even last time I looked at just 2%. But anyways, there's a fixed percentage of at least 2% on every item imported into Dominica under the environmental levy on the port of entry. So that means the government is generating a certain amount of revenue for what should be the specific purpose of funding solid waste and the management and disposal of such garbage, because let's face it, everyone here is garbage. Everything that comes to garbage eventually built into garbage. So management of solid waste and garbage disposal should be a well-funded operation. Don't you think so, Tyrone?
Like in the US, encouraging you to share the life
Speak up.
Yes, definitely. I think it's something that I could ask myself a lot of times. If we have a certain amount of money that we consolidated for and as an environmental levy, and that is supposed to be funding the operations of the solid waste management corporation, then what seems to be the problem? Well, from what I've heard, allegedly, the
AIC is 1.5, 1 to 1.5%.
The corporation, it is alleged, receives a fixed stipend, but I would think that that should be more of a percentage based on the amount that collected within any given month. So to say that the village councils right now at this point in time need to be imposing another fee, another tax on the citizens is, I think something that we need to.
Oh, I don't know if all you can see that. Then the vehicle paper. That should be in that. That is for my ride.
Discussion, based on that. So,
try your blind.
I think the people of Rosenhoff should be thankful right now for the rain that might help to ease up the situation at the landfill, where we still had fuels being limited up to So I guess the realities of the situation is that I guess it's very
So I refer to the entire building to the other way. I mean, assume that we will be ready for the people of stuff and to quench the fumes that was being emitted from the entire building incident the other day. So, stock farm people, funk with the people, their own special situation to deal with that representing. And I mean, people doesn't want to live
Rastafari.
blame have to go. But in some places you have to ascribe blame. So blame would be, so somebody have to feel the pressure to get a situation remedy. But if we never want to ascribe blame when things going wrong, then the pressure never really falling on the particular person or organization for the situation to be corrected. So it's just going on as is.
You have to have motion, and you have to have some kind of, like you say, remedy.
So you brought up stock farm Funkoli land fee. Or is it the Funkoli land fee? I'm not sure. Because at the present moment the land fee
Simply impacting the people in stock farm.
the land fee apparently when they say the encroaching has encroached on stock farm from Funkoli down below. Now we bring up the point of funding solid waste with the 2% levy, that everything that comes to the island gets charged. The shoes, the socks, the shirts, the apples, the cars, the tires, the batteries, the glass, whatever we're using, even if you get duty free on it, you're not escaping the environmental tax.
And not just that, on top of the percentage, you still tax upon the percentage, okay? So you still tax upon the environmental tax. So, you're being double taxed,
Compound taxed.
Yeah, so.
And environmental tax comes at the end.
Yeah, so, I mean.
Before VAT.
So, I mean, it is what it is, and we have to make the maths make sense. Yeah.
So we have situations in Dominica that we lack in garbage truck, which is an indisputable fact that we lack in garbage trucks to go around the island and collect rubbish. But yet we have a tax for funding garbage trucks on the island. But we have none. We as citizens of the country have to ask ourselves now, even more than they say you pay license to fix road, but even more than you pay license to fix road tax, environmental tax is a significant financial amount where garbage trucks should be able to be purchased regularly enough to service the people of Dominica, but we do not see that happening, and there is a specific tax towards that.
So then I would say that the people are being extorted at the port, because definitely I think the adage of no taxation without representational benefits comes true right here, because we cannot be paying at the port, right, and then accept the excuse that the solid waste corporation is underfunded to provide the functions that it is mandated to carry out. Okay? Solid waste have responsibilities under the ambit of the local government that they must fulfill, that they obligated to fulfill. Okay? So when we have monies that's supposed to be directed to basically a statutory corporation, you know, within the ambit of the local government, and then you allow that to happen, you allow it to become so deficient in the performance of its function that, you know, we're talking about privatization and you know, I mean, while we have to think out of the box, and well, I mean, I can agree, the fleet part of the waste collection equation, I mean, is something that we can privatize, but we cannot look at that in isolation. We cannot give that as just a one-sided excuse or some half-baked idea just to subdue or pacify the people or fool the people for a while. Because the problem is continuing to compound, you know. Right now, I believe the people in Rosenhof have had enough of the landfill, and I think it have enough land in Dominica for us to think of where we can commission a new landfill. And if planning within it function, you know, have any kind of credibility, then they have to step up and speak to their part of the problem. Because according to what I understand, and planning, the people from planning should be able to inform the public. The landfill was supposed to be in its location for how long? For how long, Pyro? How long was the landfill supposed to be at Fonkule there where it is right now? 15 years? And from what I understood, that there was supposed to be some implementations like biodigesters and so on to deal with the organic part of the waste. Because, I mean, if you can manage the organic part of the waste and turn it into an asset that you can then redistribute, right? Then that basically solves part of the problem of the mass of garbage, of gas emissions that we have going on at the landfill. You know, management is the organizational management at the end of the day is the key. And I think properly funded and you know, with a proper vision and a proper plan, you know, solid waste can definitely deal with that problem in a very efficient way, in a way that might even turn something that is a problem into an asset, into an opportunity for us. But do we have the kind of leadership at solid waste that can speak to the future that we envision and we want to see come to reality? I don't think so. Because we cannot keep hiding behind excuses of you know, being underfunded when clearly the statutory corporations were formed under acts of parliament. They were formed by law. So they have their operational jurisdictions, and to fulfill their obligation, they have to be truthful, they have to be upfront, you understand? And they have to, if needs be, allow the public to be the judge. You know, because clearly the performance, you know, it not there. It not, we see in the symptoms of that. So I'll stop there, and you know, I don't know if we want to change gears and talk about something else. But
No, not yet, my friend. For just a minute. Wow, you say plenty in your statement, even more than what I'd expect to hear. But let us boil down the fundamental facts of our situation where our landfill is concerned. We have environmental health,
yes,
we have physical planning, we have solid waste. And I don't know what other governmental organization that overseeing the health of the Dominican public. But clearly, with the landfill situation in Fonkole and Stock Farm, we have a problem. Over the past couple of days, since the tire incident, fumes have been bombarding the neighboring environment. Stock Farm, Yampis, Fonkole, Tarish, the areas down the hill. Now that is a health concern because it's not the first time that has happened. And many people are concerned for their health in and around the landfill given the fumes. There is no health monitoring of the people around the landfill to see how the landfill affecting them in any kind of a way. Is when people start to get sick, then a correlation will probably be made between something and something, but then nobody would know because nobody not studying what is going on over there. That is one aspect of a problem that needs to be solved and monitored. The landfill the landfill in Fonkole, which has now encroached into Stock Farm, was supposed to have a finite lifespan of, I think, 15 years, maybe 20 years at the max. And that time has elapsed. So we have to ask ourselves, who is to blame for the lack of forward planning for where the new landfill was supposed to go in that 15-year span? That 15 years of 2% government levy on the people of Dominica to finance or to help finance the location of a new landfill. Now, solid waste on its own cannot locate a landfill. We have the planning division. So we have to ask ourselves, is planning to be blamed for the failure of not finding an appropriate place in 15 years for the new landfill? Because the landfill not in your backyard, it's in the Stock Farm people backyard, it's in the Fonkole people backyard. So it's a problem many of us mightn't be able to feel, but we have to be able to understand what these people going through. But this is a serious situation, and it represents a serious failure in our system and our management as a country, that we cannot go forward doing those things again. Yes, my lord.
Yeah, good evening to everyone. So AI is saying, the Fonkole Sanitary Landfill was officially commissioned on September 1st, 2005. It was designed to save Dominica's waste disposal needs for approximately 15 years and spans about 18 acres just north of Roseau. So it was originally designed for 15 years. It was supposed to be decommissioned in 2020. So that has elapsed 5 years in 2025. And the landfill presently is 5 years past the lifespan, the design lifespan. And we have not heard anything from the authorities saying they have designated a new area or allocated a new area or anything like of such. But the people in the vicinity of the landfill, the people that live adjacent to the landfill, communities that border with the landfill, such as stuff from Congo, as far as Goodwill and environs, they suffer it. The people complaining. I mean, the last thing, incident with the tires, right here in Newton, with what effects in it. You could smell that thing burning from all the way from Korea up there, all the way Newton. And you have what, these weeks, how long ago? Couple,
2 weeks.
last month.
Not this month, for like 2 weeks
I
ago.
don't remember. But according to the people in the neighborhood, they still feeling the effects of that, especially in the night when the atmosphere kind of cool down and the place kind of simmer down. So they come with the fires, but the earth keeping that thing warm just like a cold pit. So they're protecting that heat under there, and the people they feeling it, it's like, and I mean, despite anything, something needs to be done about it. And again, them things is just mismanagement. We see it all around here. We see it all around. We see the effects of this thing all around. Mismanagement of all state institutions. First of all, you have that managing
Florida Nature.
Florida Nature. Is that an accountant by training. An accountant is not supposed to be running out of the field. Or a solid waste department. Them things work for engineers, my brother. You need an engineer to manage a landfill and manage a solid waste department. That is a function of engineering.
I agree with you, Pyro.
You don't have a square peg in a round hole. You check me? And mismanagement naturally occurring. It does naturally occurring. So that alone is a fundamental issue. So that is one thing you really don't identify that need to be solved. That we need to change the management of the solid waste department. You check me?
An engineer might have extend the thing, you know, yeah, to manage the things, yeah, man. Yeah.
Accountants don't. You check, you would have to learn that on the go, on the fly.
Yeah.
You check me. But you have an engineer.
Because if you know you have 15 years to work with, and you know the amount of material coming in, you're managing it, you know how to, recycle, or you know how to, bro, you're so right, brother.
That is a
Yeah.
fundamental aspect right there that already gone astray,
Real.
The square peg in the wrong hole thing, we keep suffering with that so bad, man. You check me and yeah. No. Apart from just that aspect of it, you have planning. Planning mandate is to protect the public. And you see planning doing their job there. Now you be another one, stop it in the wrong way. You check. Now you be the river, now you stop it in the wrong way. The chief physical planner. Yes, she's an architect, yes. But again, no biggie, she do have the
Capacity.
you check. She don't have the capacity, she doesn't have the experience to be chief physical planner. She doesn't assert herself the way she needs to assert herself as a chief physical planner. You check me? A chief physical planner needs to be somebody that can take authority because that is one of the most important jobs in the whole development of the country. Every activity that we do starts from the landing. So if we're not dealing with the land issues properly, then our development will have some serious problems. And that's exactly what we see. Because our development has had some serious issues in it. Exactly. And it's just continuing. Until these people just work as usual. Because they can get just the political means. Now we step further and we in the who has been there who central former secretary under the Labour Party. Because we have to get to know these people and the level of importance they carry in the society and not just have them here to check.
But from what I understand, Pyro, the
Too many square pegs in wrong holes and that mismanagement has destroyed us as a society.
but from what I understand in Pyro, the chairman, the president of the Labour Youth Organization, I believe, for North, was present at the meeting in at the college, I believe, last evening or evening before. So you see, like you was just saying there, Pyro, these people do not assert themselves in their roles. You check, I telling you, I would believe that it have a lot of young people who support Labour Party in Stock Farm, in Fonkole, in those areas. But do we hear these problems there being addressed and being placed on the front burner like they have? Look at that way right now. The parliamentary representative for Rosal North, I haven't heard not a statement, just utter silence. You know, Rosal North, which is one of the largest tax contributing areas in Rosal itself. You check? You understand? So I believe that kind of a treatment we get in there is extortative, my brother. We need better representation than that. You check? So if we don't see the need to speak up for our own family when they being affected, my brother, you check me, because we live in the area, then I mean, what no man? That herself speaking to your leadership. Because if you're present and you're there, and you, like Pyro say, are unable to assert yourself in your position, in your role, then what is your function? What is your use, really? The people that you propose or purport to lead must question you. They must question what is your function, what you're about. Yeah, man.
I mean, Franco, one thing you said that I must agree with is the speaking up for yourself. So in that situation, as we've come to understanding, that representatives from Labour in the meeting, living in Stock Farm, breathing in the fumes, suffering the same suffering, but yet will say nothing because they fear being chastised by higher authority. But we have the rest of us to speak up for what affecting all of us. It is not in isolation that the people in Stock Farm suffering. Poor management is what ultimately affecting the people of Stock Farm. And that poor management ultimately affecting all of us on the island. So we call on the people and the authorities to step up the planning for the new landfill, to alleviate the stress of the Fonkode and stock farm people and environs, the residents of Roseau North. Accelerate the planning. Planning division, take up your responsibility. Solid waste, take up your responsibility. Ministry of Health, if you're involved in it, take up all your responsibility. That problem there need to solve. And the people in that area need to be screened for whatever health hazards that burning chemicals can result in. Rather than waiting for when people falling sick in the hospital, wondering what. We need to be proactive with the people in stock farm and the landfill. We have the problems, we have the solution. Let's go and fix it. Because we already know where the blame falling. Now it's fixing it. That should be the focus and the energy. Fixing it.
If they needed to know who need to wake up, well, we don't know. We're calling out all the people that need to.
Yeah, it's the government in general, but you have departments, specific government departments to deal with that. So, solid waste, Ministry of Health, planning, get all your act together. A new landfill need to be located. People will pay taxpayers' dollars, thousands of dollars in all your pocket every month from my VAT. Do the work for the people. All right, so yeah, let us roll on, man. Yeah. Huh?
So now, good. I want us to hit. I don't know if you want. I can
Why
go
is
ahead
that?
and
Go ahead. I don't know what you want to talk about.
I want us to jam on the problem we have of lack of public confidence in the police. And I want us to hit on particular things. You see, like the Police Service Commission, you know, and how does it interface with the police to influence promotions and them things there. What kind of monitoring do we have of the who basically policing the police, not just for when they may be breaking the law and so on, but their performance. You check to give a fair, non-partisan, non-political, totally merit-based assessment, So because I think within those institutions, particularly like the police, we need to have the cream of the crop. We cannot play games with the security of the state, So I think it have to have layers of security within and outside of the police, So I was just, preempting the whole conversation. But definitely we need to address the issue of confidence in the police. And I think, like Pyro was saying some time ago, we need more independent bodies, more independent organs within the institution of policing. So you have the people dealing with the disciplinary board, you have the people dealing with the performance and so on. But yes, that's basically where I want to start the conversation, where I would like to start the conversation. But what is your contribution, Bud?
If I go to be honest, I do not know the function of the Police Service Commission and how they function within the context of the Constitution, I believe, and the general day-to-day operation. What I will say is the main question of confidence in the police force is what I can really talk about, because at the end of the day, I will personally say we come from a society that in general does not trust the police. We have, we've had in the past a special situation of the 70s where police in Dominica committed many atrocities in the bushes of Dominica. They have never accounted. We have never inquired into that officially as a people. And henceforth, the distrust of the police has always been there to us as a people fundamentally. Again, we also see the selective application of the law and the weaponization of the law for political means using the police force. So henceforth, the people in general will not trust the police force because the police force has clearly shown that they are affected by the whims of the politicians. When the understanding of the police is basically they are there to protect the government rather than the state and the people, you have a fundamental problem in understanding. When you have a police force that believe ministers can dictate to them their daily functioning, as we just see with Blackmore and how the police functioning, that is a clear violation of the ethics of the independence of the police. Yes, Blackmore can say, you know what, I want you to search more. We want more searching on the streets in general for security, as they do with the guns, for the guns. But Blackmore cannot just want to tell the police, hey, go by Tyrone and look for guns. When you see Tyrone, no, that is you directing the police that unethical. So it is those positions from which Dominican people looking at the police as not being able to be trusted. Because clearly you see things happening in the society that requiring police intervention to bring clarity to a situation, and the police will pretend that a tooth fairy have to call them in. But then, the other day, Corbett said in the press conference, when they have an ongoing crime, they can bubble and move. So they can bubble and move for some crimes, and they can drag their feet and pretend they don't know what happened, what is the law, how the law interpreting, all sorts of things where certain things are concerned. And but for that, the police are not trusted in our society. Yeah. So, so what I can suggest, before, you know what, Franco? Have your say and then I will continue.
I wanted something you say there just trigger, because we are under the assumption that when we talk about a merit-based system, that we have to question what is meritorious in the perspective of people like the people that lead in there right now. Because if they are the ones who set in the standard, because to me they have a meritocracy, but it's what they consider worthy of merit. What kind of behavior do they find worthy of merit? Hold on. Because this afternoon, that word there of merit was being thrown around very liberally. You know how they would with the word salad, buju, you check? So I wanted to make it very clear that when you have, hold on, Buj, hold on, Pyro. When you have people in positions where it is assumed that they will, at the end of the day, be fair, be a statesman, they will air to be human. So you have to separate that power from them and vest that in institutions like I was saying earlier, the Police Service Commission, so that they can truly take that embodiment of what we consider as merit or meritorious behavior. You check me? Because to be loyal to the politician is to them is worthy of merit, and we can clearly see that they reward those who act based on what they consider to be merit. So you see the English language, when you see sometimes these people talking to us, we have to pay attention. We have to listen very closely. Because if you don't, you might give them credit where they don't deserve it. You check? So I just pointed that out, because we don't want to end up doing the same thing that them man herself is. That is their bag.
Well, one major reform I suggesting to the general public, and we can have that discussion, and you can put up your comments for us to read and continue the discussion. But I fundamentally believe we should be voting for the chief of police. And the fact that the chief of police should not be picked by any political entity such as negotiation between the prime minister and the leader of the opposition. These guys will pick somebody that in their interest.
Yeah. That is it.
So in a place like England, which is the motherland as we just called it, you vote for the commissioner of police. People put up, there's a qualification, and people apply, and we vote, and they vote on a chief of police. Because to me, that is the only way we, as a society, can take out the biasness and bring a certain level of trust into the police force. Because if we directly in control of who is at the head of law enforcement in Dominica, the people, then we know results will come. Because if we want to stop the things that are happening in Dominica, you have to start from the top. And if the police does not have the courage to start investigating from the top, we have a major problem. Because people can bring complaints, they can blow whistles. But if the chief of police, you understand? So and if the chief of police just feel to himself he don't want to investigate, or you have to make it ultra difficult, have people try and produce evidence beyond a reasonable doubt just for him to move, but yet you and present it for him. But you can pick up your phone and get $1,000 for anonymous tip. No name, no one. You understand? And as we're talking about the anonymous tip with the police story and that there, if they're serious about the gun thing, I also suggesting to them, guns are expensive things fellas just buy. Or you're willing to pay the snitch $1,000. Be willing to pay the person for their gun they're turning in. Because money is money. And people have to understand, because even in states, it's gun buyback program they just have. It's not just bring it in. Guns cost money, man. You have to be willing to give compensation as much as you're willing to give reward for man snitching out. Fellas.
But for no. What I would say about them things there, it goes back to the fundamental issues, mismanagement. It's the same thing I was saying about Florian Mitchell. Florian Mitchell, which is an accountant, right? He's an accountant. He's a trained accountant, right? He's not trained, he's not educated to manage what you call a solid waste department or what you call a landfilling. That is the job of an engineer, my brother. You check me? So, we already have a fundamental problem such that we have a square peg in a round hole, right? Then, we come again. Same Naomi River, head of physical planning. You check? And what we see
People are getting position because of political connections, my brother. Naomi, your stepfather is who? The former caretaker of Roseau Central. We check. Naomi doesn't assert herself as chief physical planner. Well, the chief physical planner is one of the most important offices in the state way, because every activity we do starts from the land. So if you are the one that managing the land and the land development, you check such that we have a landfill that's supposed to have been decommissioned 5 years ago. The landfill was commissioned in 1st of September 2005. And its lifespan is for 15 years. That's supposed to take us to September of 2020. That was almost 5 years ago. September, they're going to give it 5 years. You check. So right now, that land is supposed to be decommissioned. You're telling me now, you still have people going there, burning tires and coming up with all kind of excuse. You check me? On how you physical planning supposed to be protecting the health and everything of the you're supposed to be just protecting the citizens, the residents of the state. You check. What have you done? Square pegs in wrong hole, my brother. You check, and there is this, that when you talk about merit, Flacco, the merit is not because I want you to be there. The merit is because you deserve, you qualify, you can do the job. You check, but even when you get the position and you show that you cannot do the job, you show that you fail to do the job, you show that you cannot deliver the results that is necessary, they're supposed to remove you. See how much years you know Florian Mitchell, how much years you know Corbett Lemman there. The police, how much years Kerry is a prime minister and what he doing? I mean, we laughing it, you know, but Jarastafari, man, is real thing that there, my brother. And people's lives been destroyed in them thing. You check? And that is the sickening part of it, you know. People's lives have been destroyed in them thing, and that is passing like it's nothing, and it's just a big joke. Man make their money, man get their salary, man go at their home, man live comfortable. You check it, they just challenging status quo because they don't lose their job. You check? So everybody just sit down there, they're comfortable, they get their money, they go at their home. Why no, boy? So you don't thinking what you doing there. You tell you put it in your hands and behaving like a little dog. And just agreeing, you just running and hide. When you're supposed to stand up and take your responsibility to the management of what you have taken up. Whether they fire you, whether they don't fire you, you have an ethical and professional responsibility. You have a legal mandate to the state also. You check? And it's plenty nonsense that happening in our society. You check me? Plenty nonsense.
Let me touch a little bit. Because a lot of people are good night to everybody. Rastafari love. Let me touch a little bit about the situation of a stock farm. We all know stock farm had the landfill for a few years, about let's say about 20 years basically. You can calculate it like that. So yeah, all the rubbish from the island coming up there. And somehow community people have their lives, their children raising, but all the fundamental understanding that the garbage has to go somewhere. So for some reason, it was supposed to report to the tourist boats based on the schematics of the people providing the money for the garbage disposal at that time. Anyway, we live with the garbage throughout. Well, I don't explain to you. Some people we know up there the landscape next to the prison. We had a football field. We had a football field. Around the football field had a mass guava field with mangoes and plum and the landfill started adding up all that. It come to the point that it devoured the entire area until the landfill reached next to the road. Over the years of growing up in stock farm, I can remember the early morning after 6, you see rats running down the road. The first thing like his hands. I'm telling you, my brother, you laugh at real thing, you know. My brother, I can tell situations where rat reach a certain level, the free human being, a rat will approach you like your dog, you have to move out, you know. If you weak enough, I'm telling you, up in front of us. So we bear that burden for the country. Anyway, 2004, so I'm the advocate for the move of the landfill. Anyway, in 2005, they moved the landfill to that area. And from Cody, where Paris previously was doing the mining. That area was deep. I don't want to exaggerate, no, but in my little youth man mind, and what I can remember, they had over 1,000 foot depth from stock farm, from that area, stock farm, the lowest area, down to the four-holy bottom of Paris at the scale, and they're doing all these things. It had about 1,000 foot. In my limited wisdom, I suppose the correction, it had about 1,000 foot and so going on. Today, you stay in stock farm and you step it onto the landfill. So that rise up 1,000 foot of rubbish. Okay, and it's same level in stock farm. So they're asking Pyro and other persons that within that field, how much dirt or debris after landfill is complete? Because I can remember we did this after this stuff from the stock farm. It had a huge amount of dirt they put on the landfill that even make the landfill reach above the road now. So right now the landfill was in the hill now. So you have to go up to the landfill. When we stopped throwing the rubbish, it was just a big road in stock farm up next to the center of excellence. Next to it, right next to the gold project. Government resource, they are motion, until they build the center of excellence. Well, and then the stadium is just stay there and dilapidated and we show almost nothing. If you go in it, you know, almost like a landfill in the stadium, in the Nebo Stadium. Okay? And it reaches so how much dirt exactly you have to put on top of the road? Because right now, the way you're looking at it is that it's going to make another deal again. So it's going to be over stock farm. But the present is same level of stock farm coming from a depth of about 1,000 foot. Okay? Now, over the years, we had a lot of people getting ill in stock farm. A lot of people passing away with cancer, different things, lung disease. I myself suffer from a lung infection. That doesn't hear in my life. Okay? Now, we had a meeting at stock farm, so we got in a doctor to give us a little education on the health hazards. And when she started listening, she is numerous. So one of my questions to her was, okay, so if we have some instruments or something that test the atmosphere, because people live right next to the landfill, test the air quality, because over the years that was never done, despite that all these incidents of neighbors we know. Yeah, but never. For about 40 years, the landfill in that region, because Foucault is suffering from it. Even after Maria, the water that come down from that valley there was very, very toxic, you know. I tell you, I know an individual that purchased a vehicle that passed through that water there, and when he come to after he polish the hose down, he go and dismount it, and then the next day after that vehicle, he stayed in for about 3 weeks, you know, and he's a close friend of mine. Check, so the water that come down from the landfill that rush down all in Foucault, all by the police business, toxic water. Which I telling you, no, we had asbestos as a poisonous substance. We had all over the place. Yes. We demolish buildings. We live around asbestos. It's late in the game when it comes to asbestos poisonous. They start to dig holes, and they dig in the holes right next to the community. I can show you areas they dig holes and bury the asbestos and so on. Because at that point, the landfill was filled. Remember that time we had a stigma going around asbestos poisonous. Yes. Like we just learned that in Dominica, and they go around and start to extract the asbestos all over in the hospital, in the schools, and they dig a hole right next to the prison road. And bury that there, right there. I tell you, right there. You don't have 20 foot from the road, and they dig a hole because the rest of the area is exhausted, and there they bury the asbestos. They have biochemical waste from the hospital, from the labs, digging hole and bury. Okay, I tell you, I know we go through it all, you know. Public hospital account for all their barrel of oil, for all their old machine and everything, their equipment in a pond right there in that area. The banks, the credit unions dig a hole right in that area and come and bring all their documents. That time they didn't have all that IT thing, and so they used to come there and destroy their documents. A gentleman from the landfill, even had an accident, he fall into a hole of fire, from one of the credit unions, burning their people. So we've been through it all. We lose ourselves in a recreational area. We lose and we lose and we lose. Then we go to Fort Holy and right now back in Stock Farm. Descent. No, the fire was on the 30th of June. Today you go in Stock Farm now. The fumes, it present. You're feeling it, you're feeling the burning sensation. Just in your nose, in your body, in Stock Farm. So we sleeping in that from the 30th of June up to today. Nobody don't come and test and check and nothing. You know what Mr. Michel called a meeting? Mr. Michel called a meeting with the residents of Stock Farm. And we go to the meeting, and then, I go there listening. And, the first Mr. Michel saying, well, to hold Florian, who's solid, we're sorry, accountable. And let me tell you something, man, just hiding, man, I'll be friends, man. Mr. Michel, I just have to just explode on him in that meeting because he know he lying and I know he lying. Because we have had numerous discussions about the landfill and things he need to do, and always one end result. But government not making the funds available. He can say it in private. He don't come in Stock Farm in front of me and say otherwise. Mr. Michel coming in Stock Farm. And he's a close friend of mine here. And I'm very sorry I have to come and I have to just really sit like that in public, but it cannot go no other way. Because towards the time we have a tradition now of people not doing their job, just protecting their job, my brother, and not doing their job. What kind of a society we building like that? We have the head of the hospital, they're not doing their job, protecting their job, so they're submitting to whoever that gives them the job. We have the police force doing the same thing. Soldiers doing the same thing. Physical planning, what society we building? And then everybody suffering, and then after the institution comes and say, we'll never comfortable. Because what they're doing is damage control now for government. But nothing you can do. You stay there at night, you combat the fire, okay, you take it with the fire services. I can appreciate, understand that, but you're a CEO of a manager of a government institution.
Or statutory corporations like that.
Right? You cannot be sitting down there protecting your job. You don't protect the citizens, you're protecting nobody, nothing. And to top it up, the man going to nether from the next day. And in the forum, the man somebody saying, well, they're affected by the smoke and whatever. Mr. Michel telling the person, remember, everybody garbage coming there. What that's supposed to mean? What that's supposed to everybody coming garbage, so we have to be sympathetic to everybody garbage. And Mr. Michel, you know what that's going in the landfill, because I went there with a team of from Stock Farm, and any little child can see, you people run out of space for the rubbish, right? And the tires was burned, and they shifted, and if this landscaping to make space to put rubbish. So the problem we see on the road with the rubbish is not just the transportation to the landfill. The landfill is exhausted. It is exhausted. There isn't more space. Okay? So they burn the tires, they flatten us, but they undermine the same government institution. They build apartments up at Bellevue Road. But you can go there and look at it. But I find them and digging under the apartments to bury the rubbish. But what kind of wicked, mad, psychopathic thing that there, my brother? You have people you put in house up there. The apartments close to the edge, they undermine it. It have those Bellevue, the Chinese. You undermine it, them and all kind of Chinese deadly excavator man to go sideways on the cliff and to dig the cliff to get dirt, to stifle the fire. Presently, we have a furnace burning in Fonkoli. It buried under it. So the tires burning. Any of the excavator man make a plunge in that area, the fire pitching up like it's a volcano. My brother, that is the situation in the landfill. So anytime somebody come and talk about, when people talk about the landfill need to move, and your first comment is to where, so you're sympathetic to everywhere else, but to the people that hold the landfill next to their homes for 40 years, you is a problem. You can be supporting who you want, you can be against scary. Once you're supporting the landfill to come out in that area after all that years of being the burden of the rubbish, Rastafari tell you straight, don't go and hide behind your door like scary like a labor, but you have them wicked intentions, you have wicked dog like them. And I say that with absolutely no apology because I have friends, their fathers, their mothers who suffering from cancer, who pass away from cancer over the years. I never want government come in there to investigate what that going on with the people there in the thing. So with rubbish students. We have the jail up there, we have the rubbish up there, so it's a whole rubbish situation. Then we have the college up there. What if the college getting affected by the rubbish way? But other people with their praise, and the people on public platform beating their chest we working. This administration, what shit administration? Boy, shit alone. From way back when to now, it's pure shit. And nobody can meet the prime minister. How I tell me I have to watch his circle of friends there to tell him, as my friend, sir, as my personal friend, I want to tell you, it's been a while. You have said something of essence. Look right now, your big talk now to bamboozle people. I think people well dumb, so dumb. To be applauding you doing them wickedness. You want to talk about the education curriculum. You want to change it again. After you kill it, you know.
Yeah.
Labor administration, people afraid to say they kill Dominica education system. And look, he coming again to take another slash at it to dumb down your children. And nobody does say nothing. Nobody does say nothing, my brother. It's only an uneducated society that can live through those kind of things there, you know. On the guise of free housing and free needs and red clinic and begging and whatever. It's only by people, because you know they don't have a term using ordinary citizen, regular citizen. But if ordinary man, and I don't know what that means. You have an all whatever degree plus, you get 2 more degree and you sitting down and calling everybody ordinary man. But stop talk to the ordinary citizen. We all know ourselves, we ordinary. If you cut us, we bleed in blood. We cannot transform to somebody else. We cannot read minds. Tell people those are extraordinary. Explain to the public your extraordinary. Because when I look at you, I can't see nothing you ever do. You become the prime minister, you make some bad deals. You get deals, you was good. You go in the United Nations in 2017 and you shed your crocodile tears and you tell the people of the United Nations, the leaders of the world, you come on the front line of climate change and all that bullshit. But right there, I come on the front line of toxic smoke. Toxic smoke! And somebody has to come to our plea, to come to our rescue stock farm. Because for how much? 18, 20 days we are sleeping in that way. But we just sleeping in that, my brother, and all you just have a man in the thing, just putting dirt on it in the landfill, putting dirt on it, the fire go out, and then the earth just letting go the fumes, and just gliding up on the kaye, and just glide over Simon Ball, glide over Yampis, glide down Typing and Fokoli. Okay? And nobody don't care. Okay? And you send in Florian Michel to come in Rosenau because you know in the heart of that, you know, and the Dominica people know when you announce that it have to have by elections in Rosenau. Let's see how long you can hide that.
Yeah.
Because only actively making groundwork, looking for somebody. You have a clown man going around there. Only they have respect for the voters of Labour Party to come and tell you vote for the lady. Look at update on her health. Look at update on her situation. Rumors that will be flying over people that will be assuming things, making up story. What kind of a life is that? Just the other day, only go out to people coming home on big screen TV, coming Pottersville, and only promoting the lady. And right now, the lady going through the cabinet thing. She's a public figure. No information. No, everybody. And they say, I hear this, I hear that, I hear this, I hear that. That's not professional. Okay? And all this although you love country and you love 2022, you come from the post of crocodile tears again, Rastafari, and crying about you love Dominican thing and hugging on the scene. And make a gimmick, my brother, and you fucking people's life dread. Rastafari is emotional, yeah. Them wicked like dog boy. Rastafari. Wicked like dog, my brother. They're not beating their chest in front of everybody.
You see, my people, all of us being affected by that kind of a garbage that happened in Dominica. Some of us want to pretend like as if it had nothing to do with us, we're not affecting. The other day, they're talking to a prominent businessman that is a Labour supporter. He's sinking under the weight of the decisions the government making, but he's saying, but I don't say nothing. He's afraid to speak. We cannot be in a situation where our country falling apart and we're afraid to speak up about problems that are affecting all of us. We have to understand what is a political issue and what is a all of us issue. The stock farm issue is not for the stock farm people alone. It's not for the Funkole people alone. It is a all of us problem. It's not red people that breathe in the fumes and the blue people have a bubble around them. Everybody in the area breathing the fumes. It's universal. It is a universal problem in the neighborhood. It's colorblind. The cancer colorblind, everything colorblind. What we have to do as a people, we know who is to blame. We need to stop pretending that we do not know how to fix our problem. We have financed 2% levy on the port. The landfill have to move. The people in planning, get all your act together. All you had 15 years to plan and move. Or it's an abject failure at this moment. And people need to be fired for failing. And that is something we need to get into our bones. It's not the little man on the little job.
Yeah, to fire all
People
them
need to get
politicians.
fired for failing Dominican people on such a magnitude. 15 years to locate a new landfill. You have planning division. You have solid waste. Yet Florian, whatever his name, going and get a big check month while people suffering. The girl in planning going and get a big check while people suffering her work to do. At the end of the day, my people, when people fail, we have to get rid of them. When people steal from us, we have to get rid of them. We cannot pretend we can run a society by having failures in leadership position. The merit cannot be
to be a bulletproof vest.
The merit cannot be based on you being a yes man to failure. And once we're talking about failure, the grammar school building, the roof fall. And who is responsibility it going to be when word on the street is the building's not approved by planning? But the minister is the only person that can bypass approval of planning. The minister alone. Secondly, you have a sitting minister, engineering company as a consultant on the project. Who going to take the responsibility of the failure? Or are we going to clap, clap, clap? And send our children there.
Right now,
No.
let me tell you that. You see grammar school, all also is a cover up that going on.
But Pyro.
Because watch that. First of all, you have that woman, what is her name? The same consultant, Laville, Mr. and his wife, my brother, the minister, Kasani Laville and his wife. His wife now, Nicole Laville.
Yes.
She's the head of the engineering association.
Oh, for real?
Yes. So she blocking the engineers from making a public statement on what happened there.
So you have information saying that the engineers wanted to make a statement.
But because the engineers wanted to make a statement.
Miss Laville.
We as architects wanted to make a statement.
Mrs. Laville abused her position of leadership to suppress a statement.
I don't know exactly how it goes, but I know for certain.
But if the engineers want to...
Yeah, what I telling you, man. I don't know exactly how it goes, but I know for certain they're blocking because she is the head of the Engineers Association at the present moment. You check, she's the president of the Engineers Association. Some of the engineers wanted to make a public statement. Likewise with us as architects. Some of us as architects wanted to make public statements. You check, some of the members decide no. But them same members implicated in what happened in there because they're employed under the government still. Project monitoring and all them things. You check me? And what they're trying to do, cover up everything. You check me? Remember that what happened there? The professional body is supposed to come out and speak as a professional body and show the public the confidence in our professionalism as a
organization.
As professionals. You check?
That's Eric was talking about in
and
the Dominica can't work, you know.
Not-
They're giving him the evidence right now. By
not
just
one.
laying back.
All them man that involved in that thing, instead for them to just agree, yo, I already done implicated in that. Let me just
Bow out.
you check bow out of
Recuse
any
themselves.
decision that have to deal with that. You check, they still trying and there now and block thing by there. You check me? From my understanding is that she has blocked the engineers from making a statement.
So she
You check
abuse
me?
her
Yeah
power.
man, engineers who actually involved in that tell me that. You check me straight. One tell me they wanted to make a statement and Mamselle agreed. Like no.
So she abuse her power to protect
You
her
check me?
personal interests.
No. You, yeah it is. You that Nicole Laville, you check she's the director of the engineering services at the hospital. You check. Your husband is still the minister of health. You check me, you get that position under your husband. You check.
Nepotism.
Naturally, and the same thing that keep happening. It's just job for the boys and job for the circle. You check. No tender project. MMCE Anthony Hayden. Nah, I see Anthony Hayden not no architect. The man not no designer. The man
Not no builder, not no contractor.
first time the man come and do construction is in Dominica with my brother. You check. Boom. Yeah, it is. The man is a developer controlling most of the state. Most of the state projects in Dominica, Mr. That controlling that way and deciding who getting contract, who not getting contract. Yeah, it is. You give a minister contractor a contract to be a consultant on a state project, my brother. There is
That
a
is
total
corruption.
conflict of interest with
You
total
have to for it, you know, inside
insider trading and
Yes.
all them things. Yeah.
Yes.
All them things is conflict of interest. And no tender, no bid contracting, no
But
bidding.
now this time there was
You check me?
responsibility, there was
Now
a
see what
major
happened.
failure.
See what happened there?
A major failure.
The building failed. And then what happened? But that is exposing the corruption, my brother. And I maintain that is why that happening. Jada see that is too much,
You have to
boy.
see,
That is too much.
You have to have examples
You
for
check,
people to
and
clearly
Jada
see
make
what
people
happened.
say, look it in all your face. Yeah, it is the Prime Minister come and talk about the investigation
A foreign company.
with a company from St. Lucia. He announced it when he was giving his, I listened to him say,
Yes, he did.
he says an engineer coming from St. Lucia, and the engineer was supposed to be an island how many weeks ago? You check me? Up to the, like today, he never named what company.
But Mr. Ron, that's your question.
Hold on a second. He never named what company the engineer coming from. But he say he is transparent in what he doing. But he never named the company. He never even named the engineer. He never named nothing. But rather to me, I never see work stop on that side. All the way past there, I see man working there.
And that's
You
supposed
check
to be,
me? Yet still, you come out publicly and say that all work stop on this site.
And just ask your who that building grammar school?
ADS Construction, ADS Construction Inc.
ADS is a local company.
ADS, well, they registered Dominica, but the owner of the company is Vincent Sean.
Vincent Sean.
Yeah. Mr. Now, from what I understand, Mr. is to be working with Argos and they split up and Mr. from his company.
So he's a Vincent Sean.
Yeah, he's a Vincent
Sean.
No, a Vincent Sean. Yeah, Vinci.
But we have people from all over the Caribbean coming and
milkers, boy.
Yes, and double the money, yeah.
Milkers, not just double money, milkers.
That's why I tell you the education system is so bad here. Like the concept of an economy, people saying that and the economists, and I just can't understand what they're really saying. First of all, if you want to maintain the economy, you cannot be outsourcing things.
True.
Okay? But in a small island country like Dominica, you must outsourcing. So then you have to limit the things.
Yeah, but what do you going to outsource?
You have to limit.
Like,
no. When I talk about professionally.
Yeah, hold on a second.
Goods and this kind of things. You must outsource certain things.
Yeah, because what I am coming to tell you now, it's not like to say we lacking them things. You check. We have architects, we have engineers, we have architects.
At that point, I was thinking about imports of goods and things.
Well, why are you thinking of it like that? Because that is what we're talking about.
I know. No, but we talk about the economy. I just assign into the economy. If you want to protect and grow economy, simple steps you have to take. You have to outsource less things. So then you have to your import bill, you have to lower it.
You have to try and retain as much as the money as possible.
You have to lower it. even your taxation, so that when people sell things locally, they can sell it at a price with their markup, but affordable for local people. So that we have somebody outsourcing at a profit, but then locally we're selling it. But if Astafans bring in vehicles and we keep on ordering vehicles, and Astafans vehicles they bring in this on their line down there, nasty business on their line down there, how you stimulate in the economy? Then you come with your guys, you bring in all your foreign people and give them all the big project, and they go in them companies and take a storm of pickup. You know what I'm telling you? And then like to the people in the owners of the dealership, they feel like when they're making their money. You know what I'm telling you? When the people come Dominica, they buy their van, they make their money, they go on. The profit is not stored in the bank. The profit is not being used to stimulate the economy. Just now. The profit not being used to stimulate the economy. Then let's go to another level. Look at all the major projects going on in Dominica. All the equipment and the materials being imported. So you don't see no big sale by Astafans, no big sale by Nassif, no big sale by Max Roy in the economy. So that import bill is stagnant. Well, things still moving in the country. And then the people that moving us in the country, when they make their profit, they store their profits in their banks, in their country. Now, that money they're making from Dominica used to stimulate their economy in their country. What happened to our economy?
Yeah, that.
How stimulated? With the buildings?
Yeah, that. You see what the judge they're talking about there? That have a whole set of implications to it, you know. You check me? Because
I
now...
just have to listen, you know.
Yeah, because don't know what I'm telling you, that have a whole set of implications to it. Because at the end of the day, when you take a loan, part of the loan is to do indirect investment, you know. So you want a man that work on the project and say, well, okay, he can build a house, he can open a business, he can do things. And take that money and reinvest it in the economy and get spin out of it. But we're not seeing none of that because all them money going to foreigners. So the money not having no impact on our economy. You check me? And the same Prime Minister come and boast it for us in our face. That fella sending out hundreds of millions out of Dominica. Yeah. You check me? Whereas you're supposed to try to retain as much as possible of them money.
To be used to pay back.
No, when you say about this, you come in and you trying to say we're doing well because our GDP increasing. Our GDP increasing, but it's not helping us. You check me? The GDP is only money that's spending in the economy in a year. You check me? So if to them man now, they feel to themselves, okay, GDP increased by 4%, so they check in, we had an economic growth of 4%. But where the economic growth when the largest project on the island is controlled by Chinese and they bringing in all their thing, they taking all their thing, all the money going back China, it's like we just getting an installation, you check me? And the money, the real money from the installation is from the construction of the installation. And we don't see none of that. Because at the end of the day, all that there is a set of China man.
But let me give it out again now. Let's talk about Social Security now. Because Social Security is to benefit because it's a saving scheme. A saving scheme, a voluntary saving scheme for the citizens of Dominica for your retirement time or for time you have thing. But from those projects, we talk about the airport. The airport is one project, but you know, we just complete the major highway or what you want to call it from Cassibus to, well, let's say from the Lapin Cassibus Junction to that junction in Marigot
Harton
Garden. And I chat that road there, and maybe you see one to of the Carinago community, they're direct in traffic. And then after they come out to want to make a blind it's fast, give out to want to make a drill. But a lot of foreigners that be like whole road from La Plain Junction up by the Tarish Pit. All the way to Harton Garden. My brother, Dominicans don't work on that. Nobody don't put no serious money on that. What money that go Social Security? What money that go in?
And again, who was the contractor? Garagan.
What money that go to those places?
Contractor and consultant.
Garagan back on the road up in Granby again.
And a set of foreigners.
You have a subcontract of a local company with some local man.
1-2 man.
Check. No, you have
but the main crew of fellas is a set of man from Dominican Republic. I said
I
that.
mean, what people like we just there and just now we seen ministers in the parliament say, and all we see is jobs all over job. It really are jobs all over it.
Yeah.
But job for who?
But all them youth man
But
sit
I
down
don't
on
know
this
if
side
they're
of the road.
delusional or if they're wicked or if they're gone guarding people like there's laughing in your face. But nothing do making sense because they're straight the same institution and them they represent. Because the treasury going under blockade, in an revenue going under blockade.
But you see, don't
The
you?
port, that's not the port on cost under blockade because duty free them and done all them things. Remember everything under blockade.
People don't understand what is a capital project.
Everything under blockade. Like that
You
is
see,
ridiculous.
the thing about it,
Those things there.
the thing about it,
Capital project is to really, yes, you want to build the infrastructure, the physical structure, yes, but you also want the economic benefit of it, which is the stimulation within the economy. Now, how is that going to happen when you're exporting all the money? It will never happen. So the people, when the politicians speaking, and that's why we have to stop listening to the politicians and start to listen to the people that are able to dissect the lingo that they
But
that they try.
but you see, Flaco,
hold on, Pyro.
let me just say one thing for before I forget, hold on, Flaco. Let me just say one thing.
Exists on paper, you know, and not in reality, you know.
Oh,
All of those things they're based on projections. You will hear them talking about projections. You understand? Like project jobs going to create. But in reality, do you see those jobs being created? All the hotels that the money and all of these things are being invested in. Look at that. The stadium. Do you see
hold on a
a
second.
return on investment? All the apartments. So who really owns it?
You see the thing with it,
Right.
no, them man destroy the education system. So now, whereas before the education system used to feed into that construction network there. Right now, for how many generations now, from things them man take office and them man dismantle the education system, bringing universal education and mess up the education system. You're not getting people to be able to come and work in construction because they don't have training grounds for them. So basically, we have a serious shortfall in the labor market when it comes to the construction and even agricultural industries. What they turn around and do? Import Asian and Chinese and decide outsource everything instead of looking at addressing the issues and resolving the problems. But they create the problem because they destroy the education system and the education system no longer feeding into the economic system. You check. And their solution is to just bring in Chinese, they get now all them project there. What happening with all them project? Them project getting how they call it that duty free. You check all them project is concession, you know. All them major project have concession. Because it's state run. Them thing is state run project. You check what they turning around and doing with that tax money. What they doing? They putting it back into the project. Huh? Or they taking it and pocket it. You check. So it's all them kind of a thing. We never get, we having almost state projects and we never had final accounting on not one state project. See how many apartments built around Dominica. We never get no final accounting on none of them projects to say, well, that apartment building was projected for 6 million, but it ended up costing 12 million. And that is why it ended up costing 12 million. So we had a 6 million cost overrun. Nothing. You check. When a man finish, a man come in and talk about the transparent and the this and the that. My brother, we never had not one final accounting on no project in Dominica. Not one.
But one thing
under that Labour Party.
I just remember things and help people to remember. Isn't it last year before? You know, on the preparation in Parliament, trying to remember well when the government come and say the contract underbid the project by about 6 million. The same grammar school, you know, the roof collapse. They come for appropriation to provide more money.
No,
Whatever was their solution, but they see the contractor
Yeah, what I gonna
under
say?
the project by about $6 million.
Now hear that, don't you? You see how you say in there? I remember a time you had mentioned that. And to me, again, that reflecting back on the irresponsible behavior of our government and the mismanagement of the state resources and everything. Because at the end of the day, you're supposed to choose a responsible bid. If you tender in on a project, let us say you take minimum 3 tenders. In those 3 tenders, you already don't know that tender $6 million below the bid you need. But you still go ahead and you select that tender.
But just now, before you reach right there, government have a system set in place. Any project that come, there are people going and assess and have a price, you know. So
But that is what I
government
telling
going to
you.
into no bidding situation without a price already.
But that is what
in
I
their
telling
mind,
you.
because we have people pay the ministry. That is their job, you know.
Yes, but that I telling you there. That is what I telling you
So
now.
I don't
They
know how
already
you can
know.
come back
They
with a
already
straight
know.
face.
The $6 million below the belt. They already know. The 6 million short. Yet still, you still went ahead and you select that individual, that company, to execute that project. So you still went ahead and you select that company to realize the contract, to be the contractor on that project, knowing jolly well he couldn't fail because he underbid by 6 million and there's no way he's going to be able to complete that building because his bid just too low. You check. But it's your responsibility as the administrators of the project to select a tenderer with a responsible bid, a tenderer you know that are going to complete the project because they bid enough money and everything. You check me, but instead you go ahead and you selecting somebody you know that short. So what angle you playing? You check, yes, what angle you playing? You check me. You not supposed to ensure that we, as the people of the country, getting our money worth. You supposed to ensure we getting our money worth and the value for the money we putting out of the state. So are you telling me you're gonna choose somebody that cannot complete the project? So you doing that? So the way I seen it, there is construction fraud there, my brother.
Right. But all these things done in the guise that the government of Dominica have an alternative revenue stream other than tax, you know. Because we're talking about all kind of nonsense, but in the back of people's mind, the government have a money other than tax dollar. Over the years, we talk about CBI, so much of billions of dollars, but if I look at the amount of loan we take over the years, and the loans we take over the years in the same era of the CBI, we take them to do the Roseau Enhancement Project. Nothing in Roseau. We take them to do A, B, C, and D. Nothing being done. So what you can say really happening, we have an imagination of a CBI money and a loan they come and do it. Even within the CBI, you know, they're saying this is done by CBI and that by CBI. But just now, but then the Prime Minister come in and tell us wolfishly that, you know, the health centers are built by Anthony Hayden, we owing him, and the apartment building, and we owing him. So it's up to now, we have not seen a CBI dollar at work, you know. Because even if Anthony Hayden and MMC, the instruction is that they build in and we will pay them back with CBI, you know. That is what they really seem to the general public, and tell if it's correct or if it's wrong. I'm not in them and meeting with them. But we the people, we have in our back of our mind that the government have an alternative revenue stream other than taxation, which is wrong. And that is what the CBI do to the population of Dominica, that whole CBI ban sitting. Because everybody feel like government have money within somewhere, but the people managing our tax dollar. So once you see you cannot put that in your mind, and if you think government have our money, then you accept those madness. Yeah, you know, it's not what happening to us. So we need to wake up, wash our face with our people and open our eyes, because that don't making sense. Tax money, them have the right idle outside, all funeral, all thing, all the ministry. Two things, you stress them and buying a few really, but tax dollar doing all that. Tax dollar buying them transport, them and driving in, all the minister driving. Tax dollar, but we just have that imaginary CBI, and it never come through for us, you know. But we still piggybacking on a CBI story, you know. You check?
You talk about the Roseau improvement. Okay, so look, you're telling me now it's free loans for the Roseau improvement thing. But is Roseau enough part of the Roseau improvement thing now?
No.
Because I don't see to me.
Central Roseau, they give
Yeah.
the streets, they name the streets.
Central, the CBD.
They name the streets that were supposed to be rehabilitated.
Yeah, but
Yeah. They gave the name of the streets that were supposed to be rehabilitated. Yeah, streets in Roseau.
$100 million from Saudi Arabia, streets in it,
Brother, $49 million.
Yeah, but all of us have to pay back the loan, so why?
That's the last one. Over the years, we have
No, from go just say Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia.
But you just say Pyro, you say earlier there.
49 million.
$47 million US dollars.
But 100 million, 110 million from Saudi Arabia.
You see, what 47 million
49 million US
But
dollars.
$110 million.
Yeah. Pyro, you say something earlier there. You say that.
I'm on the streets. It's not all street in Roseau that are getting rehabilitated, my brother. I tell you, it's not all streets that are getting rehabilitated.
Since we're talking about loans, and that is tax that's going to be paying back those loans.
Everything is loan, my brother.
Listen. If we saying the tax going to pay back the loans, and we have $100 million loan that we take out for Roseau improvement, why should the largest contributor towards tax in Roseau itself, which is Roseau North, be left out of that development plan? Why should we be left out of that improvement? You check me? Because if you're saying we already take free loans, and you're saying the loans already in the range of $100 million.
7 major streets.
So that is just one loan is 100 million. So you mean that it beyond 100 million? I think it's fair enough to want Roseau North to be part of that improvement, my brother.
Again.
Because we are the largest tax contributors in Roseau. Roseau, when you call Roseau.
Brother, anyway. Who determining where the money is spending in the country?
All right, well, you have
we
a
are
point
citizens,
there.
we're not involved. It's supposed to start with local government, and they don't wipe that out. All of us will see that budget coming up. 25th of July is budget. Huh? Not one community has put forward a proposal of what they want to see in their community.
Yeah.
You check me? So, them budget them and planning this. Come to me as wonder if it's out of their ass, they just fucking pull them thing. You check me? Where them budget, who making them imaginary, who making them think to see, well, that is what that need to be fixed in the community. Hey, man, I have no worry. Who is it? Who are the people that on the ground that come in and watch and see, well, that is the, because first of all, the local government basically just non-existent. You check me? That is the first thing. Yeah, but it practically non-existent. No. Solid waste are them thing. That is different thing from local government. Local government is supposed to be dealing with public spaces and so on. And yes, solid waste is supposed to be part of local government, water management, and certain other things. Right. You check. But like what them man do, they dismantle local government. And now we're seeing it. How we being involved in our whole management, in our whole vision for our future. You check me? We're not involved. Them man is doing what they want, how they want, when they want. You check? Because the whole governance structure has been dismantled. To do what? To serve politicians and their political agenda, and not to serve us as citizens, and to serve the country and the state.
But by one thing, I the person, I would call speed a speed. Part of the demise of the local government is part of the blame has to come on the community because we lose interest in that. But our first line of defense against a tyrannical central government,
Again,
local government,
let me tell you that.
we never get that understanding like that.
I want to stop you. I want to stop you on certain things. Because it's not people lose interest in that. People were pushed away from them thing, my brother. Mamo started, you know. From Mamo started the dumb down of the population when she removed civics in school and man stopped understanding and knowing how the government functioning. That was a major shift towards the government taking the reign and moving that whole shit into political partisanship.
Okay, but let me say something. Let me say something to you. Okay, you gotta say that for the local government because the parent, the Virginia Charles in her era, in her fight with the mayor then of the thing, look to restrict the powers of the mayor, like okay. But tell me what happened in NCCU. And tell me in National Bank. Because the public, why the public why we not actively involved in
But it's the same thing I'm telling you.
But we not involved because it's a process, it's a democratic
But it's a process. Yes, but it's a process. Remember, the society has been going through a process of dumbing down, you know. And what your parents does always tell you, man, grow up, man, see that. Hear that.
Just know.
Hold on, don't
you take blame, not to take blame, you know.
I'm telling you, no, you know. But listen to what I'm telling you. You check. That thing is a thing that happened by designing. You check me. Even your parents would tell you, don't get involved in that man thing.
Warrior King.
You check. When man growing up, even man parents would tell man, don't get involved in certain things. Stay out of that. So enough man, hold on a second. Enough of us grew up with that mentality that we out of the system business, you know. Enough of us.
That don't make sense.
Are we don't making sense?
But listen to me. You must put your money in a financial institution. The government design like that, or you coming up with money on the in, and when your money comes to that, you know that story. Like the system says that you cannot save your own money in your house. You are within a financial institution, and you have to declare your assets and all that kind of thing. So you must put your money in the institution. Every 3 years, 2 years, quarterly, whatever it is, the institution has AGM. Once you are account holder in that institution, you are a member of that institution.
You see, look, Celia King giving it to you. September 14, 2024, it was signed for $41 million. And the roads are at Bath Road, Cook Street, Great George Street, Virgin Lane, River Street, and King George and 5th Street.
So we must go to the banks. By God, my brother, you don't have to be educated to know. You have to have an interest in who that running the bank. You have to have an interest in who. You see,
I want you to tell people what a man from the bank tell you about the police.
We electing people based on their educational background and not based on their experience in money. To be chairman of the board of directors of a financial institution, you're looking at his personal life, you're looking at his financial situation. It is nothing to clap about, but you put him in charge of your little dollar you're working hard for, and you put him in charge of making investment to bring your money forward, and you stay home for that. When they electing that person, everybody's staying home. I don't think that is dominant. That is just lack of interest in things that important, and it's the CO, it's the bike show, it's the breakfast fair,
don't come like that. Don't come like that.
But everybody's saying
everything is education, boy. Everything is education.
Everybody keeps saying Labour Party planting their cronies. Everybody keeps saying Labour Party planting their cronies in its institutions, and we sitting at home and we letting them plant them, and then we complaining.
I want Maggie to tell you what a man from the bank tell him. Which Beth? Why enemy said your name? Why don't you say what you say? Let the man say what he say.
The board of NCCU was just about 2 months back. Which one of us out here? None of us thought that we have more faith in them, my brother. But let's we wicked, man.
You see what Dante is saying there is a factual point, right? That what that people say about interest, we hasn't paying no attention to it. But what Pyro is saying also is a valid point in Dante. We grew up being very ignorant, a lot of us.
But that we don't realize it.
A lot of us grew up being very
your own parents telling you to get involved in
those things. We all took and
change face. It has to take since a little boy and everything.
Yes, boy. See, an old man tell us who is us to read the Constitution.
No,
One question. So your perspective not the same thing about the rules of it?
Or my perspective is the same thing. My brother, it's not me you're talking about. We're talking about the society in general.
I limited to us in the room.
No. Don't come.
Let us stand there because
hold on.
But we don't fight in that battle there.
Who tell you we don't fight in that
Let
battle?
me say something. Let me say something, my brother. Now, what Dante talking about, and I'm going to take it to a fundamental level, and Pyro alluded to it. We in Dominica have a problem in getting involved in the things that are affecting our freaking life. Child abuse. You don't see no fucking parents showing up for child abuse rally. But child abuse, no, all them children, then your uniform, then your this, then your that. We're the army of parents that's supposed to be protecting the children because it's child abuse rally. My brother, if those that do working, we have a fundamental problem in Dominica of showing up for what it is that affecting us. And Dante not incorrect in a certain fact that something as important as a financial institution we shouldn't allow it to fall into politicization because our money involved in it, our profits involved in it, our corresponding banking business of overseas involved in it. Take for example Julius Corbett in NCB. Julius Corbett make a profit, they fire him. They hire Julius Corbett in Edbank. Julius Corbett make a profit in Edbank, they fire him again. So at the end of the day, what exactly does this government reward, as Tyrone was alluding to earlier? What is their merit? Is their merit loyalty, or their merit is numbers on the board that are positive?
Suck bottom and balls.
Because at the end of the day, let us face the reality and we can break it down real. We're talking about construction and our economy failing because we lack, and I say we lack Friday night pay. And I'm going to break it down in my simple understanding, and Pyro, you might have it different, but I doesn't say it simple. On the construction project, I'm man of different level. Every week you might have to pay the laborer, the laborer.
Unskilled and semi-skilled and skilled.
Then you might have the skilled worker, Mr. might be on a fortnight basis. Then you have the big engineer, Mr. Sam.
Well, it's not really so. What they have day workers and you can have an engineer that is a day work that come and does go a day. But
long-term project.
But you're okay. I can give you unskilled, semi-skilled, and skilled, and day workers and permanent workers. Boom.
Already simplicity, my brother. Because people in simple understanding. You have man that laborer working for the week, you get paid on a Friday. The trade man working on the fortnight, you get paid every fortnight. So on the second week of the month, you have 2 sets of men getting paid.
And then on the month end,
on the month end, you have 3 sets of men getting paid. But what the government have done to the economy is take away the fortnight pay and the weekly pay from people in the private sector. So now you have a situation where we only have money in Dominica from government workers mostly, because the government bigger than the private sector. So it's mostly government workers that carrying the month-end burden. And you know the government workers, 90% of the money tied up in bank loan and this has to pay back. So they're not exactly the ones that really can drive extra spending. Now the extra projects, all the employment is foreigners. You have Capitol, 200 Chinese up there getting paid every Friday. Then you have Duncan still going and repeat the process. If another 200 Chinese going to be working.
Bro, it's not extreme. They're in the majority.
What is that? What is that in the majority?
Them people you're talking about that extra there. They're in the majority.
Well, yes, those construction project, outstripping. But the fact is, we, the Dominican public, and people have to understand that when we crying about the economy and why money not circulating, the the blame, the responsibility falls directly with the decisions of the Minister of Finance and the government machinery in general. And if we don't to accept who we have to blame for us not having money in our pocket, that is where we failing as a people. So we are allowing the government officials to gain wealth, to raise their salary by 50% once, twice, and not give us back anything in return. Because what? We play in the lotto, we might get something from them. But when we play in the lotto, the hospital don't have medicine, and that is a deadly lotto we play with our life. The responsibility of our failure lies with the administration of our system.
But I have a question.
What is your?
Do we believe
We are the administrators of our system. We are the administrators of our system. And for too much time, we just seem to think the correction of the system only comes during election. When man fail between 0 and 5 years, you have to let them know that they need to resign. The Prime Minister, the Minister of Finance for the most years in Dominica, clearly his policies have led to economic failure in Dominica. And everybody, whether you're red, blue, or green, can clearly see his policies have led to economic failure in Dominica. So unless we cannot reverse the policies that man have implemented over 15 years, which is take our tax revenue, waste it on his friends, and then indebt us. Because that is what is going on with the CBI. You have Capital A going to get a free hotel, plus 15 million in profit before the first guests arrive. 15 million in profit before the first guests arrive. One man in the CBI. So that one man that's going to get 15 million in profit, hire 200 Chinese that going to get, let's just say, 30 million in salary.
That was the memorandum of understanding. That was the conditions under which he could get the 15 million profit.
No. That is CBI money, is Dominica money, responsible for Dominica sovereignty being sold. When a project of any magnitude under the CBI is launched, the majority of the employment supposed to be Dominican people.
But well, again, the same thing I was telling on you earlier on. Them man destroy the education system. They don't have a labor force.
You know where the man destroy the labor? Let me tell you the critical moment you're scared destroy the construction industry in Dominica. After Maria or Erica.
Before that.
No. It had a certain time after Maria. Remember, Dominican people was construction workers had already left the state. Go Anguilla, go this, go that. Fellas had done spread their wings. At the point in time, Dominica had needed construction workers, and the man tell them stay away. And since then, it's foreigners in our backside. Since then, it's foreigners in our backside.
Them man do that from before that.
I'm not telling you no pyro, but what I'm telling you, it at the point in time when Dominican construction workers, the experienced one that go overseas and get work, wanted to return. The man clearly put up a wall against the return for the people. And since then, we've embarked on hiring foreigners for every major construction project. So we are Mr. Insult us and tell us investing in us is throwing it down the ravine.
Because a well-oiled middle class working to create their own value, understanding their own value, would come out of that whole exercise. You check me? And now that is a set of people, that is a population that will be harder to control. Remember, we want people, we're exporting people. We try to drive a bridge. That is the mode that we are operating in right now. So it will be counterproductive to these people's objective to have people wanting to return and to help to build Dominica, to actually see like you help to build
Let me
something
tell
and you
you
help to
that.
bring it back.
Right.
You check me?
Them man start that thing from things they start to build the stadium, when they start to build the state house, when they start to do the West Coast project. Them man come with pure Chinese. You check, and from there, them man start to do that, and it just
From the 21
proliferate
million.
into something greater. All that time, they don't bring in the universal education. All that time, universal education done destroying them youth. You check how much youth cannot even barely read and write going to high school. Huh? The workforce done dismantle.
You're right, Pyro,
So by
because you
the
see at that
by the
time,
time it come right now,
I was young enough to remember that those billboards
brother,
in Venice were putting up $21 million.
by the
And
time
it was like a shock.
by the time Maria
You check
and
me?
not even Maria, by the time Erica rich, by the time Erica rich, that done ripe already. Who build for them? Who build for the replacement, the relocation of East Haven? That whole thing was done by Chinese. And from there, Anthony Eden grabbed foot, you know. You check. And from there, Maria come next couple years, and that was it. You check. But them man had already done destroy the education system with the universal education and that dumbing down thing. And boy, man not realizing all what we saying there is true. All what Dante is saying there is true. But what we don't realize it, my brother, when you see you restrict information from people, you check, when you see you take that education thing and you destroy people's confidence, my brother, you check me? Because you see that lack of education, that is a thing that has destroyed my confidence. You check me? And huh? Yes, my brother. Just see like how the old man, yeah, the old man tell Buju, who is you to read the constitution, my brother? Huh? To them man, they feeling like as if they're supposed to honor their leaders so much that they're supposed to wait for the leader to interpret everything for them. So the leader will tell you, look what the constitution say, and it's that you're supposed to understand. It's just like when you go to church, you check. A lot of them people, they have to wait for the pastor to interpret the Bible for them and tell them, look, is that the Bible mean? Look, is that it say? You check me. Whether the pastor get it wrong, whether he get it right, they have to. So it's like that tunnel vision kind of a thing, but that put us in a real predicament, my brother. You check. That put us in a real predicament, you know. And we seen a lot of side effects from them things. Plenty side effects. People don't want to participate. But when I go to Cuba and I just see that, you know, like us as Dominican students, we had an issue in being able to speak publicly, in being able to participate in certain things, and being able to just get ourselves moving in certain vibes, you know, until man have to break out from them things, you know. You check? And you could actually see like the other students, they were different. You check me and you could see like we had a lot of us had that boy self-confidence issue, boy. Like the way our society growing us up, like they telling you don't get involved in that. They making sure you do. They make, you know, see like what a lot of us does be saying. Let us make our government irrelevant. Come up with solutions to go around the government. Instead of we come in and say, let us take off the government and deal with our solution problem. Which like now we go around the government.
We're trying to avoid confrontation, my brother.
Not just avoid confrontation, but to avoid authority. You check me?
Okay, so confrontation with authority. But yeah.
Authority cannot be conditional. That is the whole precept of authority. Check me. When you have authority, when you assume authority, just like when you become a parent or when you assume ultimate responsibility. You check I saying? So it's not something that is conditional. So any authority that want to have a kind of a conditional situation, so when it good you want to have authority, and when it bad, no, you derelicting authority like as if somebody else responsible when you are the one with ultimate responsibility at all times by assumption of your authority, my brother. And we have never been taught that whenever a person shy away from authority, then we have to step up and lead our own self. And at times we ourselves can become the authority. You understand? Because if we being led by a coward that will flee at the sight of his own shadow, and we find we have enough courage in ourselves, then we have to lead ourselves. And so the coward will follow too. You check I say in Maggie? To be led by a coward is to be afraid of everything the coward afraid of, you know. Every time he freeze, you going to freeze there at the back, you know. You check me? But you see in better shadow that there, mister. You check me? So sometimes we have to step forward and shake off the fear, and that is in itself, those acts in themselves inspire other man and give other man permission now to lead themselves responsibly. You check I telling you? No matter how much we talk about wanting a leader and wanting a leader, my brother, we ourselves have a certain degree of responsibility, you know? And if each man take up his responsibility, then it's going to make the burden a lot easier. It's going to make the task a lot easier. I keep saying, I could have been a nicer person if more people were less willing to accept bullshit. But sometimes I just feel my whole life is like pushing back against bullshit for everybody. You check? We sometimes in a situation, all of us uncomfortable, but nobody want to speak up. And I do feel that every time I have to be the one. You check I telling you when it's all of us skin that burning ready.
But the same thing I just said.
You check? So
We have
it's the
that
confidence.
notion.
It's the confidence.
You
Like
see,
you
and
say, you
look,
check?
you reinforcing the same thing I say. You check, like, see how you take up being a leader and you complaining about being a leader.
No, it's not a matter of
Yes, my
complaining.
brother. Because at the end of the day, you're not supposed to be looking on
But
another man.
all
Yeah, but I'm telling
leaders
you, I listen
hope
to you, you know,
towards that
Flaco.
day, my brother, when
I
everybody will
listen to you,
understand
you
their
know,
duty.
Flaco. You check.
Because that is the ultimate.
I
That is the
listen to
ultimate, you
you.
know.
My brother, I listen to you.
Who
You
want
check.
to become what they despise? You check I telling you? Who want to become responsible for everybody and everybody, my brother?
Brother,
Everybody
nobody not
have
responsible
to be
for
led
nobody.
to be
But at
pick
the
up
end of the day,
their
as a
duty.
leader,
You check I saying?
people looking up to you. As a leader, people looking up to you. You check.
Yeah.
And but that's the same thing I tell you.
It's the same thing, you know, a lot of people that are talking
Alright.
about this.
What about?
A lot of people talking about
You
What
drop your
about?
point already, my brother.
Yeah.
You drop your point.
Boss, you're reinforcing the same thing I just said. We as Dominicans, boy, we feed ourselves, boy.
Correct.
You
Yeah,
check.
we have bad. We have bad
And
self-belief
we
and
don't even we not
self-confidence
even
issue.
realizing it, my brother.
Yeah,
You
you're
check.
right. You're right.
And
I.
our society drives that in us so much.
Mm-hmm.
That come like second nature.
Yeah.
You check me?
Yeah.
And the thing about it, the ones that really have that outward kind of a thing, a set of teeth, a set of one man, most of them
Correct.
they you check.
Correct. They're using it for the wrong purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
They're confident in doing in
that is a
manipulating
thing that
people.
really messing us up, my brother. You check. I said, any rich Cuba, I see that in. Check. You see that man, he well good on his work. All of us there. You check. But for him to grab the spotlight, because when they call him to speak, when they call man to do things, yeah, I was guilty of it once upon a time.
For sure.
Check. And so I recognize it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're speaking from
Check me.
experience.
Yeah.
Myself also.
Yeah, man, I recognize that and I check it. Boy, I have to break out of that area. You check. Because them things that don't make it
Yeah,
sense.
man, I remember Maggie telling me, Sabasafe,
And they grew up like always having
Yeah.
to shy yourself away from certain things. Check. And then now when people go start to come to you, you're feeling like, boy, like, who is you now? Like, you check, like, you still not yet grasp the concept of, yo, people see it in you, people see your ability, and people checking like they're looking up to you. They're expecting certain things from you, you check.
Yeah, man.
And right now you just have to step up your game and step to the plate.
Trust me.
Brother, you check. And that is one of the things in our society we mostly discouraged from doing them things. You check.
Yep.
We're
Man telling you check for yourself.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Boy, you grew up with our parents, boy. Even
Yeah.
the entire community
I can remember
telling
that
you,
vividly.
see when we
Vividly.
take on the police and we do all what we see
Yeah.
and we ask. Man would dread man and tell man how much
All the
thing.
fellas mad
And
fellas,
at the end
boy.
of the day now, when man see the result, man go check like,
What?
Well, the fellas do a good working.
Yeah.
You check. And you know, today I post a thing on
On the page.
on the page. You check.
I see
I
it.
get and read it, you know.
Yeah, I saw it.
You check.
Yeah, man.
I get and read it, you know.
And then
Because
what you're saying there is reality because I remember vividly hearing it in my from the elders.
that was
Pap, mete commence à faire quoi, mon? Ça passe à faire.
man.
Stay out of them people business too. You know, like, and you know, because you're youth man. And
Enough
then,
people still traumatized by them things,
yeah,
my
when
brother.
you're getting older now, you start to realize, you know, a man telling me, what? Well, that's mad, man. How you can touch the police, boy? But the police touch the man first. The police grab the man property. The man grab the police back. The police is a human being. The police cannot just violate you because he's a police and he's right. And the man believe that one. The man working in the bank. And the man tell me, well, Mark, you're always mad, boy. You don't know the police always right. I said, the police always what? The police always right. Oh, so the police cannot do what you want to you, man. Man tell me, but man is the police, the authority. I say, boy, man is talking for me there, boy. What man is talking about? A human being that they have a uniform, but he's a human being. If it's just like me and you. And some of them more dons than me and you. Some of them dons. Some of them don't even know. We have to educate them. Yeah, iron sharpen iron. We have to educate one another. To never think like because he man have a uniform and he's a police, that all of a sudden he just has, like a robot, he just put a chip inside him and he just get super smart and super intellectual and you know everything and you don't know nothing and he just, you know what I mean? That's not how it's working.
So yeah. What I post on the thing today. If you can bear a false opinion about you by a person you are legitimately trying to help, you're not ready to lead. The cost of leadership is being misunderstood by the people you're trying to help. It's to be malaligned, misunderstood, misquoted, and attacked in your moment. And then suddenly, when you're not there, absent of your hand over things, people go, actually, that guy, he kind of had the right template. You check? And it really, you know, it really, because I see right here, my brother, when man was there challenging the police and doing them things. Now people used to check like, boy, the fellas is some mad
Yeah, boy,
psychopath.
mad fellas.
And in the end of the day, my brother, right here again, them same people would check like, probably not all just doing there. That's a good thing.
Yeah, man. And,
Check.
and telling us now, come and do it.
Yeah.
They're seeing us. Do you know you? They pay all you off, man. How come on, look?
Yes,
Yeah, because at first all you saying we mad. No, we on a different level. They checking about we all you know boy with me. All you come and continue.
But no, we did not.
All you continue what all us doing, man.
You check.
So that when I see that, I say I exactly that what come to my mind.
Yes, blood. You check. And it's a vibe. You check. And you have to be, and it's really, you have to be willing to accept being misunderstood. And sometimes it can be frustrating, but I say to her, it does allow them still.
Yeah, man. That's why we're saying right now is a revolution of the mind. It's education. That is the key right now to educate each other, to share the knowledge with one another, to empower each other. That's what helped me. I get from experience. It's all you, my brother.
But
I get me
see,
to have a
even like the
self-confidence.
fisheries right here. Huh? We come on about on the fisheries. The man and them come. We have man like Jai Sire, Ken, Ratin. Who are man him up, put me up there. Rosanna, Safi set of all. You check. Then people come. Destroy the Newton fisheries. Rather we stay there, we push, we fight, we push, we fight. And man never truly give up until we put petition to get rid of them people. to help them, same members of the cooperative. But I check it. We that is the problem. To them people like it, us that is the problem. And now, today, them same man go check like as if it's now they see realize what happening. No,
Yeah. We all
they
you know,
want to
boy.
take on the challenge.
We all
Like
you
this.
fellas
Now they
know,
want
boy,
to.
yeah.
We check.
Now we there, you know.
Huh?
We there, we
Yeah,
all
man, we
looking
there,
forward,
man.
we
We mean,
there.
we never giving up, my brother. We don't go
But
backing down to
it's
the
a process,
challenge.
like you say, it's a process.
Yes, it's a
And
process.
it have
It's a
different,
process.
it have
And
different
have,
phases to the
yeah, man.
process.
Yeah, man.
So we come and we demonstrate.
We ain't giving
Now
up
we
no
continue.
time.
When we realize a lot of people don't know certain things and you
I
tell you
shall tell you,
demonstrate.
never give up.
So now we educating, we trying to tell man, yo, you know, any question you have, anything you thinking in your mind you have doubt about, let's discuss it, my brother. We can, you know, you might know more than me something about I didn't know that boy don't he? Yeah, there are a lot of things don't he, but I didn't know that boy. I learned that. I just learned that and I learned something new. So we can learn from one another as we go. We have to open our mind.
But we can discuss certain things, but certain other things. Let us not argue. Haste yourself to experience. You check me, and then yeah, but that's what I say. It have certain people that you can arm
We
them
just
with
chop it like it's on the
information.
block.
And it's only truly when you see they come to the experience that they will understand, which was the last part of what the Pyro just quote there. It's only, you'll tell a man a thing now, and it's only when they go through the fire and experience it themselves that they will let down what they knew before and accept what you were offering them. You understand? That is what I'm talking about when you see, to me, in leadership, that is what I see as something all leaders should hope to attain. Because to want to have this sight and not have another man able to lead himself as well, to me, I don't know, so I have something, you know. It's like having a flame. When you share the fire, at the time when you yourself do a fire, you might find it from others. But when you keep it to yourself, when you see yourself in darkness, everybody in darkness, you check. So we have to seek to inspire other leaders, not just in our generation, not just among us, but from future generations as well, you check. And that's just how I see in the whole vibes.
But what I want to ask, we have a problem. It's stemming from basically everything. We have a problem in local government, we have a problem in central government, we have a problem in the local in the police force, we have a problem in the financial institution, we have a problem in social security, we have a problem even in the business places because the business places they importing all their goods to sell to who? Who they want to sell it to because the public. But why they not advocating for the public to be working the business places? So what that really is. So who they really want to sell all the galvanized and the lumber and the plywood for, all their big fridge and their so
Ask him that.
who they want to sell it for? Because I don't hear
I tell him
I don't hear
that.
him advocating for people to be working for employment. Right? Social security,
But I did tell you, he
Indian
not supporting
revenue
that.
is based on people working. I didn't
Nobody
hear
went
them
and
coming
told her
and
he not supporting.
advocating. And they don't come and advocate for people to be employed.
True,
they don't
true.
advocate because the people in those positions, they sit back there instead
True.
of doing their job, they protecting their job. And protecting your job is conforming to the administration, even if it's wickedness, it's to
Status
conform
quo.
to it. You become an enabler. So I want to ask you, what is the real problem? Because quote unquote, we live in a democratic country, okay, where the state managers are elected by the citizens, all right, to manage the state affairs. We elect people to manage the state affairs, okay. But should we be electing people to systematically put the state affairs into place and then have people hired to manage it? Because that is the way the conflict of interest is, because the people are there to stay there and to look at the managers to make sure they're doing a good job. They don't managing. So what really is the problem? Because we outlining resource of the problem, but what really is the problem. Because if I look at it clearly, to me, in my limited wisdom, I think is first lack of education, lack of incentive to participate in what that is important in your life. You know, but if your life full of distractions, how you can focus on what that important in your life? Somebody might get vexed when I mention the bike show, the breakfast, and I know we have to recreate, we have to free up, okay, and that is okay. But when you recreate, when you free up, that means you celebrating. And I look around Dominica, I don't see nothing to celebrate about.
I can answer that question.
Okay.
All right then, let me answer that question, Doctor. First, the solution to the problem is we the people.
What's the problem? What is the problem?
Okay, first, what is the problem? First thing, what is the problem? Again, is we the people. That is the problem. Because you know why? I will say that we are allowing a lot of things to happen and thinking that we cannot solve it. We are the ones to solve it because you know why? We are the ones with the power in our hands. We the people are the ones with the power in our hands. Because it's we that electing the same politicians to handle our state affairs. So if they fail to do that, we should know that we have a responsibility to take charge of things, to vote them out and bring a better replacement that can give us representation and better governance. You understand me? Now, another thing I will say now, with what is going on in the country currently, as in terms of all these state projects, right? Because you talk about those businessmen and those things. With what is going on in the country currently with the state projects, I personally have a problem with it. Whereas I find we all Dominicans should have a problem with that. Because we cannot have those capital projects and we have to be paying loans for it. And as Buju said earlier, it's Chinese alone that working on it. Now it's coming back to what you're saying. Even those that buying all their materials to be selling, right, should be able to come out and speak. They choose not to speak. But even if you do speak, today or tomorrow, it's going to affect you the same way as how it's affecting all of us because you bring in the materials to sell to who? To sell to the same we, the public, that do have nothing. So you as a businessman should be aware as what that is going on right now, what the government is doing right now. Of course, it is training you and you're supposed to be able to come out and speak because as you say, we live in a democratic country where we're supposed to come out and say what we're supposed to say. Whether I supporting you or not, but if your actions is against me, I have to say something, my boy. I don't going to sit down there and just watch a man take my bread from my mouth and don't say nothing. Whereas it comes back to what Pyro always has say. Why he wasn't living in Lucia, working in Lucia, in St. Lucia, he see where no develop. He see the government of St. Lucia develop right into what it is today. Now, them kind of capital projects like the international airport and some of them big hotels and the apartment buildings here is the opportunity to develop some of our local contractors into our own renos, like Maxwell Trading, Maximum Trading. You understand me? I mean, as Stefan and these people well established, so they probably figure they don't need to speak. But we have people like Maximum and Max Roy, that is young businessmen, even Egbert Charles. Can say something.
Let me interject one thing in that statement there, because you see, we can also appreciate things overseas. Because I like to be clear and blunt and fair in everything. Okay? We say government help to, the St. Lucian government help to develop Reno.
Yeah.
Okay? But when it happens locally, we just complain still. Because if we talk about CCL, we can talk about companies that I do tell just no, let me make sure I say it correctly.
Yeah.
Okay? They're in the guise of government helping to develop local contractors. But you know we still have a problem with that. Because then we will talk about this man fronting for down and down fronting for and this kind of things, you know. So at what point are we going to purge it for when you say what we say we really want it? You try to, you know? That we have to understand what you're saying, you know. Yeah. We cannot take ourselves and spin in circles. No. Because I go through that part of that life already. I was working on the administration, develop some roads and drains in Stock Farm. Yeah. Okay, prior to that, we were talking about Chinese and all that working. Then when I started to work, you know what the campaign was against me? Timothy, have a madman in Stock Farm doing some mad things in Stock Farm. No, that's not. I tell you what, we talk about life experience. Yeah. That is how it's been. So it's been from Chinese man working to when a local man working, like me say them, how come me to be working? Because we don't only appreciate this thing when you're on our doorstep. So you see that thing that you have to purge out, that creating our same problem. And if you see you don't agree to purge it out, you know we keep on going in circles. But I tell you, it's a really easy problem. Because when you mention the Reno and the St. Lucia and the development, I appreciate that the Reno coming and eat our money there.
So that's why I tell you from beginning.
But I appreciate this. No, I appreciate. I appreciate this statement when he outlined that the St. Lucia government have to develop Reno. I appreciate that. But if I look in locally, anytime it try to be done, us locals, we try to fight it down. My brother is going in circles.
That's why from beginning I tell you. That's why I tell you from beginning. What you have to ensure
It's a meritocracy problem.
Is that is a policy set so that when you see like, for example, what Pyro just was saying there. It's something based on merit. It's built on merit. You check me? Because once the policy there and the people there making their strides, making their progress within themselves, the proper planning, doing what they have to do, my brother. Naturally going to work out good for both Reno and the government that gave them the head start. You check I telling you? Because it's all about, let me tell you something, it's all about fair play, you know. You don't know who going to be we are know who was still for. You check me? Until she come and put the effort and do what she do, and right now everybody know her. Now we want to be reactive and put things in place now in hopes that we will get another one. You check? But we have to have those things there in place because we don't know where the next success going to come from. So that is why politics have to become not about money and favoritism and nepotism. And you see, it becomes so much of a stain. And I understand what you say in Idodonti, that the very thing that we hope we see in as an advantage or as a plus in somewhere else. You check me, something we should see as a step into. Why not us? Why do we look down on each other when it's happening for us? You check I telling you? So we have to find ways to destigmatize the whole thing, and I think through exercising the politics in the way it's supposed to, through policy, shaping the environment and putting things in place for fair play, and that locals can participate in meaningful ways, my brother, to show their talent, to grow what they already are able to do. Then it's going to work well for both the people and the country. You check I telling you?
And I'm glad you use that example of TLR4. You check it? And two things I can say. First one is that based on the fact that what Dante is saying there, right? Is that like, and what you're saying is like, okay, the managers of the country, they're supposed to have that level of where we observing the people and them. Like you don't just choose your partner, your supporter to give the contract, but you watch and see. Like you have a lot of players and you try and see who deserve, who making the strides, who. So like a scout, you're like a talent scout. So you can see who that, have that potential, and then you go and you invest in, and then that one will inspire another, and it will, you know what I'm saying? But we have a thing about us now in the country where and it's reality where what we see happening to us, we blame it on government and the party, but us don't want to know that, because that's what is happening. Yeah, how we feel like that, boy.
We
Don't give Mr. that job I got to. Because Mr. the man lazy, the man I'm charging plenty money, give it to them other man working faster, the man doing it better, the man. So we're talking about So we thinking that when we checking like them man doing it and we see it happening on a country, on a national level, but not realizing but we doing that to each other on a community level, and that is what we're suffering from. Yes, brother. What we're suffering from is how we treat one another, boy. They man just magnifying it, seeing it, and they just magnifying it. They capitalizing on it. So what we have to do is let's change the way we work, we treat each other, my brother. Yeah.
If we are low, we talking about bellow. We talking about bellow, huh? We looking at life too much in hindsight. We have to start appreciating the value that we have in the things that growing now. You understand? Because look at how we crying for it. Oh, we had bellow. We can't stop talking about those things there. But when we had it, what were we doing to improve it and to ensure that we have a future and a plan of continuity for it? What were we doing to shield that from politics, my brother? You check me? What were we doing to ensure that the politics of the day was creating policies that would ensure the longevity of those things there and even the expansion of them? You understand? Yes, we have to pick up not just the change but the attitude, because we cannot just want to sit down and cry of things like when it happened and thing, and we witnessing the process of what's going on to bring the demise that we don't want. So we have to change our attitude, my brother, and start to appreciate the value in each other, like Dante said.
One last thing I want to say there in terms of that same on that subject is the manner in which it is done as well is important to check it, where you do show favoritism to giving man contracts and those kind of things like that. It have to be on a merit basis. It have to be on like a man ready starty vibe. You can see the man want to do it and putting things in place to do it, and you just need, rather than you go and try and create a whole new person. Boy, you have an opportunity there. I can make my brother or my nene put them in that position to do it because it have a money to make and I yourself can get a benefit from it, that kind of thing. It have a lot of that going on. Hey, you check I'm telling you? Because the person you go and put in that, no, that's not your vibes. Yeah. But you see the opportunity and you second like the money. And the person have a passion for that. Yeah, and it's happening a lot.
But you simply were talking about from this scratch.
Okay, but from personal experience, what someone you know me can say, I get my favoritism, okay? Because the truth about the matter is that when I go into construction, it's for community service. Mobilize bus drivers and people in the community and we set up the road. And my first major project I do, I was the one that mobilized the people, but nobody was in there in the background to see that. We do the Stock Farm Road. We had a deplorable road in Stock Farm. We do that road all the way up to, no, we didn't go College Road. We go up to Yampis and we go inside just under by where the houses and them there. Right, we reach there. We go all inside Symbolism. We pass the road nicely. We set up the road. And from there, we see everything in a drain to the Yampis. But listen, but when we are doing the community service, certain people in the area where I go to and the engaged team of the government provide the materials and we fix the road by Kutme. Just early Sunday morning we get up and bus drivers and women cook food and tea and whatever. And you try to, even that the pastor up in the church under the college, even him at that time he was working in Archipelago. And when he passed on the situation, he was working in government. And he look at the situation and he see what is going on. He just sponsored a portion of drinks and that time they had the boom.
Ensuring that you remain active, I don't see that as favoritism.
Right, but how are you going to outline the difference? Because at the point in time when the person put it in the work for you to get chosen, we will never really see that part. But we will see the part when he get the work, he get the opportunity. Now I still see man get opportunity after and through lack of interest. They don't learn nothing. Now through my time in the construction, from that time in 2009 to today in 2025. I tell you, I know I evolved. So it's a kind of tricky situation to just say about who to think, how exactly to make the process. You try to tell you?
To me, you deserve that thing because you already, your work speaks for itself, and you, to me,
No, but I don't make it about me because okay, let me use another example. Like Chris Walters, for example. Chris Walters is a man I know him from long. Most people say when he get his first boost from government situation thing. But if you go and you work with Chris as a manager, as a man in the construction field, you have a lot to learn from him. I can tell you, you have a lot to learn from him. Okay? Even though in the fact that you could see him in the shadow of, you have your support, like everybody's supposed to have their political party. You have his party, you have his whatever, his business. But as a manager, as a builder, as a thing, I mean, everybody doesn't have a lot to do this. But if you go and pledge the project you do almost a perfect project, So how are we going to gauge that? Because another person will say, Chris is only liberate, and can get all these jobs. And one thing I can
How
tell
you
you,
gonna engage that? Is by tendering, my brother. It have a tendering process. It have a tendering.
we talk about
Listen to,
no,
listen
just
to.
just we
Listen
talk
to.
about the project. I talk about the project yet.
But what again, man? What is the project you're talking about?
Development he get through of his personal relationship with people.
But it's so it's supposed to develop through a tendering process, through bidding. That is how it's supposed to develop.
So just now,
So hold on a second. Let me say.
Explain to me how Reno.
But listen to what I'm telling you now. But listen to what I'm telling you. You check illusions. If you want to look at Reno, from what I know about Reno and St. Lucia and the development of Reno, St. Lucia realized that same problem, but St. Lucia problem was C.O. Williams. So they had companies like C.O. Williams, they had companies like Gadakan, they had companies. I used to work for CCI, Consolidated Contractors International. You check? So they had a host of different companies. Now Gadakan was doing shitty work. You check me? So they scratch Gadakan off the list from jump. That is how Gadakan ended up Dominica from St. Lucia. Boom. C.O. Williams, Bajan Company. You check me? CCI is a Lebanese firm. You check? Under the QAT fund, you have CCI, you have DUE, and then different companies. You check me? Now, what the Lucians realize is that they bleed in all their funds out of the country. You check? They need a local that can really push the vibes. They start bringing in the locals to tender on the projects. You check me? Facilitate them, make them be able to meet the tender requirements. You check? Now, when the man come, the man going to automatically bid lower than them, like foreigners do. Because you as the foreigner, you have to bring in all your installation, all your plant, all your thing, all your people. You have to pay rent, you have to do all kind of things. Now, you as the local man, you don't have all that overheads to meet in. So you have an automatic lower, you're starting at an automatic lower bidding point, than any foreign firm. A foreign firm have to come here with real economics of scale for it to be able to beat a local man on a tender.
But and that's your question. You see
So
all what the incentivize Reno is, but you don't tell us how. Like
but you don't listening to me, man.
No, but I'll do how.
Boys, by you getting being able to participate in the tender and winning those tenders. The same way you tell me, see how them man come and give a man a contract and it's 6 million less. You check me, but yet still you get the contract. That is an irresponsible behavior. You check because you already don't know. Government have their projects office. So when they run their projects, they do their costing, they do their thing. So you already know what the project going to cost you. You check? Now, boom. From that, you send out the tender, you send out invitations to tender, you send out the bidding process. When the bids and them come in, you take the bids, you go through the bid, you watch, you check me, you look and you try and get a responsible, not try, your job is to get a responsible tender, a tender that it's not going to be too low. Because even if a man can go low and you can see where he what he do and what he could do for him to be able to manage it. You check me? But when you see a man go and he just put an arbitrary low figure to try and low blow, you check me? You already done seeing Mr. not going to be able to finish that project. So you scratch Mr. away. A tender coming in too high, you already done checking like that don't making sense. You scratch that away. You see, you get a man now and you say, okay, Mr. providing a good tender. Boom, you win a first one. Boom, you win a second one. You build that relationship with the company, with the government, and most time man like that, they come and they keep winning. You check. When you see a man winning, most time he come, he keep winning. And he building the relationship, he building the vibe. So I'm checking like, you're producing good work, you're winning the tender, your prices doesn't be too high, you balance, you're there, they keep feeding you. You check? That is how it's
And
done.
not
In,
just
that is
that.
how it's done in the world, my brother.
Not just that, you operating within their jurisdiction where they can get kickback on the tax. You check me?
Yeah, well, all them state projects,
So,
they get in concessions. Them man giving them man concessions in.
so
You check.
would you saying something about how they're going to get the assistance, like how we
Well, Pyro, explain it, my brother. At the end of the day, you have to start small. So you're going to earn points with whoever you're working with.
Yeah, you're building up.
And then at some point in time, my brother, because of your reputation, you're going to get a preferential selection. Or preferential selection on that level coming out of merit.
Yeah.
Because you prove you can work.
You prove you're capable.
So maybe on that bid, on that particular bid, you bid higher than regular because of whatever. My man check boy, the man just deliver their work on time, you know why. The man bid $1 million more that time.
It's just like that.
We still going with them man because we know we can count on them man work.
See like that company there. Why is that man name?
The check license, don't you? You have to earn.
Why is that man don't the offshore?
But you have to be afforded an opportunity,
opportunity
to be able to earn the preference.
Yes.
Yes.
So when you afford that opportunity in Dominica, we call that corruption.
No, but how much local man afforded the opportunity now, my brother?
Well, what is the right to earn the opportunity, man?
Being able to be in the tender process.
If you tender in, and use a new contractor, no you can tender like a contractor that won't go in. So if you talk about corruption,
I don't understand what you say there, man.
That's not true.
I don't understand what you say.
Let's say you use a smaller contractor. You in the swam with bigger contractors. Okay? You saw bigger contractor. Let's say you have Galakan. Galakan can tender on the road project because Galakan have all these excavator, all these big trucks. Just know. Just know. You have all that, so you can tender to a certain level. But then let's say Tula coming in and we have to offer him that opportunity, but Tula have free truck to excavator.
You have to build up.
Right, just
You
know.
cannot
Just know. We get the question. Let me get the question. The question too. How it is that you get in to afford Tula for him to get the opportunity to prove himself when his bid must be more ridiculous than Galakan.
But you understand. Hear what I'm telling you? Again, Tula at his level, huh? Tula at his level. You say you're free chucky at his level. You start him off at his level. So he start to tender on project at his level. Once he can manage and win those tenders at his level, he only gonna keep growing, you know. You check exactly. So as he growing, he increasing his capacity, increasing his operation, he building his operation until he reach the level where he can say, well, okay, I have the financing and I have the equipment, I have the thing, I can enter that big
bid.
Right.
Yeah.
So there now they're gonna invite you because they monitoring you, you know. Don't think they don't monitoring you, you know. They monitoring your growth. So as you growing, they're gonna check, well, okay, boom. Boy, Tola, you know, right now it's time for you to real step it up, you know. You check because the amount of contract you get already and the amount of money you make already, you're supposed to be able to step it up. They're gonna give you the opportunity because that is their aim. They creating you to that level. You check, they have that intention. So when they come with that now, they make it, you know, straight. You check, it's your time to step up the game. So right now, the ball in your court is you now to either do it or you fail. It's one or the other, you know. It's either you can do it or See like that company. See like that company there. Them man, offshore marine what?
Yeah.
Them man used to do a lot of work on time and within budget. And them man used to get a lot of work, yeah. You check? Until they rename the company and I don't really know what become of them. But they should be getting a lot of work.
Also, you feel like you can hear the
Yeah, but they don't get in as they don't get in.
But
To me, from what I know, they don't get in as much work as before.
if it's one,
Based on my understanding, it's based on it's a bidding process, you know. They can never
Exactly, because
they can't compete with Ghana can bid and
so now
based on discussion in that field.
yeah, but the bidding they don't make no.
So what has happened? Man, just collaborate.
Hear that. No, for me myself, I don't see none of them bid as public. You check a lot of them project, them unders no bidding. A lot of them project is no bidding, no tender, no nothing. Them unders giving who they want in. You check me. See like grammar school thing. You check me.
Yeah, a few of them is
Yeah, them smaller, a lot of them smaller project is what they just bid on. But when you look at them huge project, when it them things supposed to be on the internet, you know.
Yeah, that.
I'm not too sure.
Yeah, that. You see what you're talking about there is an important thing.
Of course.
And you're not going to see. That is why there's call on our generation for us to rise up and take charge of things right now. Because there is no way this present administration is going to ever think of doing something like that to develop a young contractor into being a big you understand? Being a real developer tomorrow. We don't never going to. It's us that really need to take charge right now to make these things happen for our people, my boy. We need to really wake up and do the necessary need now, my people. We really need. According to Dante, we need to come closer now. We're staying too far. We carried for the train leave. Yeah, man, we need to come closer.
But let me just say last thing. Based on what you just said.
Our bank can give a loan to St. Lucia to develop their stadium. So why all public works, why all our contractors can't be going? And it's not that, why our engineers, why our construction people cannot grow to the size where they can be going regional and do work in other countries, just like Red.
Public works is to do
them sport. Public works is to do that.
Public works is to work regionally. But see how they can put public works to do.
On a point of correction, Tula, like we just completed a program for the past 4 years, and the program, based on the narrative of the program, was to help develop young contractors, you know. In the HRP, the collaboration with the government and World Bank in that project, because in their mission statement it was said to develop young local contractors, you know. Okay. But in the reality, a lot of good contractors, they retire in construction work, you know, because they go into it, they really come into it, but the pay was really mega. It was mega. And then the way they pay you, they make money.
Still stretching you.
No, it's stretched because, like, for example, you get a house to build. You get a house to build, win that contract, and it was contracted. It began as the lowest bidder. I don't know how that designed, but that in the beginning of the project, the contract was awarded to the lowest bidder at a value of $125 EC for 2-bedroom house, concrete roof, hurricane shutters, and whatnot. You have to show interest in the project within 2 weeks of the contract signing. So you mobilize to the site and you start to work. You don't get $1 yet. Based on your interest in the project and you invested in the project, they will pay you 10% of the contract, the full contract sum, which is $12,500. If you bid the full sum, remember the contract was awarded to the lowest bidder. But it was a program geared to help develop young small contractor.
How that going to develop young
I telling you, know, because someone go for it. I tell you, someone run
fail.
out.
That is for
A lot of good builders fail in the work, and you can see they don't fail because they couldn't do the work. They fail because they couldn't handle the financial situation. Do I tell you? And then we look at just now with the general public. A lot of people we go on social media, they make comments, Maggie Bill in the house, so long Maggie Bill in the house, so long not being aware of the situation because we never get involved in the program to know what the program really about. We never get involved, the general public, so we are just happy, a little happy, people getting hot, people come over situations, we never look at it.
But was the program open to the general public to get involved? Or was it open to contractors?
I get the information of the contractual agreement between World Bank and the government online. I mean, somebody directly.
Yeah, but what I telling you, it was open to contractors, not the general public.
When you see about the general public making statements, $2 billion house for Sherman since 2001 he started, 2003, so long we can't build. Remember, we get
and then people criticizing things. But what I say,
without knowing the information.
Right. So what I trying, like
public information, you have to go and search for
it. You have to search for it in the public, You have to go and search for it in the public. So what? Public means you have to be broadcasting and come to you. But you have to go and search for it in the public.
No, but I don't understand. I don't understand. Which part you say?
Like the people and them to know that they have a contract and the bidding and the whole process.
But what was advertised and everything?
Where?
Everywhere.
What was advertised? What was advertised?
But the HRB project, they're looking for contractors.
Right. No, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
But the schematics of the contract I'm talking about, people wasn't aware and didn't go into the aware. Because if you get to build a house and you have $12,500 they give you from the foundation to the floor, you must have money, you know. You must be financially stable. You must inject your money in that. You must. But when you give a man that don't have the financial backing to inject his money into it, he must fail. Even no matter how good he can work. I see fellas try and build house. Die themselves there. Because of financial constraints. I tell man, die you go die. But die you go die.
No, that
but you must have a financial history in those jobs. Even in the MMC job.
When
they pay, you must have a financial history because you have to inject your money into that.
That's the key there.
Hear that? No, hear that.
See it?
No, hear that. Hear that. What does it mean to be a contractor? And sometimes we just complain about things, but we have to look at what is a contractor? When you talk about construction contractor, right? And one time, me and another senior architect had that discussion, and I tell him straight, check. Because same kind of thing, but different focus. Because he was trying to tell me, I can't read and write and be a contractor. It's impossible. Because as a contractor, you have to meet certain legal obligations that you must be able to read and write for you to be a contractor.
Let me think fundamentals, read and write.
No. What does it mean to be a contractor? To be a contractor, you're supposed to have that level of finance that you can put
Your working capital. You must have a working capital to be a contractor.
So you get a contract, you have to be able to finance a certain amount of that is just basic. You check me? So complaining about that to me.
No, but just now to develop a small contract.
No, hear what I say.
The small imply that you don't have working
capital. Hear what I say. If now you're going to create a program to create contractors, that is something different. You check me? So if you have a program to create contractors that you're going to afford them an opportunity to build that working capital, then that's something different. You check? So that is where they were supposed to say, well, okay, the program is a program to build contractors, or you have to be a contractor already, that you already have your working capital, and because in the contract it's supposed to state what percentage of whatever thing you need for you to be able to do the work, What access to how much funds you need for you to be able to do the work. So it is a 45 grand or how much, or it is a percentage they put down, or what they put down, but in the contract supposed to state that.
But let me tell you something. To develop a local contractor, okay, based on what you see in a small contractor, you can pay him the standard of pay, the percentage. Okay, I never complain about that. Okay? What I mean to tell you, you cannot ask somebody to do a job, they must invest the money in the job, but they're still not sure they can make a profit. Eh? No, that is being
Well,
wild.
you see the thing about it again. Boy, when it comes to the contracting business and the tender in the bidding, it's a whole process. Before you just come and take the house, they're supposed to give you the bidder quantity, you go through it, set up your.
All that was done. All
Exactly.
That
So you're supposed to know
they
whether
give you,
or
they give
not.
you a simplified bill of quantity, because all the quantities
Yes, but
you have to put in your rates.
you're supposed to, right. So you
So they
building.
give you all the
Remember,
quantities.
you're making your own rates. You're doing your own thing.
Your rates, yeah.
Right, because you know what crew you have. You know how you pay in your crew. You're paying your crew. You're doing your thing. The material price most time is a standard thing.
Yes.
So you know how you're organizing that. You check. When you do that, you're supposed to be able to know whether or not you're making a profit. Now, if in that situation, the profit's so big that a slight increase in the cost of material can screw you over. You check me? That is a thing that has happened to fellas already. That the contract.
That's what we're talking about, you know?
Yeah, the contract's so tight
That's what we're talking about.
that you cannot afford nothing. You cannot breathe, my brother. Man that end up making loss like that, you know.
Pyro, when I read the first instructions, to the bidder,
Yeah.
there was a section that tell you do not include your overheads and profits in the. I tell you, I have all my documents, you know. So when I talking to you based on.
Yeah, I expect you to have your team, my brother.
So that was the program, and I not to say I crying down the program, because you complete the program and I put.
But it's not in the favor of man.
It's not in the favor of man. And
Understandable.
what I want to tell to the public is not because a man failed in that project to disregard him.
True.
That one there, it was tight.
True.
It was tight. And especially plenty of places where the organization failed because of persistent crying down of the price of the contract. There are two increases during the 4 years.
Okay.
2 increases during the 4 years. The first increase, they go from 125 to 140, but guess what? The era of 125, that is when the inflation was higher, things were actually higher.
Yeah.
When they give the 140 increase, they don't make it retroactive.
Okay.
So you always train on 125.
125, stick on the street.
After they still come from 140 after through and evidence, you have the evidence of the price not being enough.
True.
They go from 140 to 150. That is still not retroactive. You know what I tell you? But it's the same set of houses, the same program. Okay? And at the time when things were more expensive, that when they're paying the least money to do the houses.
So all the negotiating as a group.
It never had a negotiation because you go into the job. Remember when you're hungry tight. Government had over $100 million to run that project. 43 point whatever million US dollars to run that project. Okay? For the actual construction of the project of 33 million, it had the 10 million US for administration, run the office, pay workers, design firm, this thing. Because I go down in the schematics of it. The project projection based on the price of the houses was actually about half, even less than half of the amount of money. So it wasn't for a lack of money. It's data that put the price. The money was way above. Because imagine the project closed down there now. Based on the narrative and the contractual agreement with government and World Bank, the money that was spent have to be sent back. I don't think I remember not too long. We had the Dr. Joseph, Dr. General Joseph, press conference was saying they used in excess of $73 million on the project,
Yeah.
which if anybody can do side calculations, we tell you, well, that can be accurate.
True.
But then, based on information talk and push and pull, you talk about different monies from that project had to go to different things in the country and fine. But it did never go to the contractors, the people that go there. And let me tell you, Pyro, the projects on them, you see like we do there, look the road right next to outside of front of there. A lot of the job on them. When you park, you dump your sandals on the front of your door. Rastafari is man and crackers bag and pail to carry to the site, my brother. A lot of the jobs. But I tell you, my brother, imagine that, and that's the thing I was amazed by. Every time you just key hand in over ceremony, you see the government come, the minister come, and they between their chest out, they that run the program and they that whatever it is, fine. You never want to see on Facebook or on no social media platform, you see the Prime Minister coming with white helmet, or the Minister coming with white helmet, and they come on the sites. There was this gentleman that was the team leader on that program from the World Bank Mission, Mr. Saringer. I cannot pronounce his name, I apologize if his name wrong. But that gentleman, he came to sites and every time somebody used to try and help him in the delegation, tell him, no, if there's not going to build a house there, I should be able to walk and go there.
True.
If man is charged to build a house there, and he will tell you straight for that little bit of money.
They're not doing it.
No, you try telling you. And he's the only person that actually speak to me on a project, speak on behalf of the contractors. It was in a private setting with all the engineers and the inspectors and the whole thing. And he speak on the behalf of the contractors. And if I saw fellow, maybe I'll shed 2 tears. Because I tell you, I know what it is fellows going for the project.
True.
Total disregard by the administration, but every so forth, every quarter when they get houses, they up on the pulpit and they beat in their chest about this and remember this administration on the backs of contractors. I know a lot of man spend their money in them project and they don't recover their money.
But they don't recover on the radio talking about.
And I just say that I don't say that I fighting down the project because what I tell myself, if the project was paying the proper money, it's not people like me that get to build them houses. You see how life is? But because we take up the challenge, but that I tell you, I don't back down the challenge. The only thing I find the lapse, they should pay all increases should be retroactive. So people that take this train will have get back some money to put in their pocket. But it have man, I know man, Mr. Bill, 15 houses there over the 4 years thing. You man building a little house around same size with the World Bank house. The man have his house. The man blocks was up and decking was up here. If I don't tell me stand by Cassia roof boy, just stop on them also take them on a Cassia roof. All the project closed the man for 4 years. About 15 to 18 houses and the man cannot finish.
Well, now we close up for the night.
Finish. Because you are studying for the program. You know, those things are shameful. And then you still see that look out. You go to see them come on the pulpit again, beating your chest, you know, because we give free.
Because you see, a lot of us still not talking. A lot of us now still not talking. I tell you, outside the meaning Rastafari.
I know we don't get that. When I come, people just think when I say that they to defend the administration. But what I do tell you, the administration is always elected by the citizenry. Yes. If you cannot motivate people, get people to remember the situation, to see the insights, because the problem is really with us. We have to participate in of things of relevant importance, especially our generation. We cannot sit back. We do it long enough and just watch it like a TV show and then come and comment. If you still try to fix a bad situation, but you're talking about it, all you're doing, Rastafari, is ponging Beth. Like all you're doing is ponging Beth.
Anyway, now we close up for the night.
Yeah. Yeah, because you see why it says us I will blame, because it's still that there's contractors I know. There's people I know that is contractors long before young men like you could even be contractors. And they back down on them same projects there because of they have to be using their own money. Problem for money to be coming on time to can't even pay workers. So they have to go and take their money to go and pay workers and things, and next thing you do know,
No, that's not
get
true.
their money
You have
from the
to use your
government.
money.
It's a problem.
You cannot be
So that will
you
be-
cannot be a
That
contractor.
is our
Brother,
job.
you
That is our
cannot be a
police job.
contractor
Yes, Pyro, I
and
know.
don't use your money.
But what I'm to tell you, what I'm to tell you, Mr.
Huh?
Ru,
overdone sometimes.
what I'm to tell you,
Your
Mr.
return.
What I'm to tell you, Pyro, out of my personal experience, yeah, that's you know. I always go to the institutions and I take soft loan 20,000, 40,000
Okay.
to get myself. You try telling you, and I don't worry with nothing. I take my loan, I pay my workers 4 years. I never pass a Friday, I don't pay them. I never did actually because I had the know-how. I had the availability to do it.
True.
But I didn't have the availability. But guess what? When I look at this trend now, all time I take a loan, by paying interest on the loan.
Yeah.
But that cannot be normal. But I working on a project that underpaid. It do making sense. You check because what if I take the loan in the bank, project finish and I cannot pay back the loan?
Yeah, what
But
the
that's in
heck?
my back we personally.
Yeah.
You check?
Don't hear that. Again, when you take the contract, when you bid on the contract, you want to tell me the first thing the man giving the bid to the lowest bidder.
And it have a cap.
You check?
I forgot that part. It have a cap. 125 is the cap. If you bid 125 and 1 cent, you'll be disqualified.
Yeah, man, it's not
1
there.
cent over. So it have a maximum cap. But in the beginning, I bring that to the attention of the manager. But how come it have a minimal cap? A man can always go lower just to get the project, and it have a lot of people that do that and show interest and disappear the money. You know, so nothing happening that man, by telling you.
But anyway, fellas.
A step.
Yeah, we run a few hours there, so.
But hey, I understand in front of the public, my brother.
What's that?
Better start 7 o'clock, my boy. Man have to go work tomorrow.
Yeah, come 7 o'clock. Why you don't come 7
I
o'clock?
gotta take a rest, you know, because all my energy.
Yeah, so in closing,
Come
I just
7
want to,
o'clock. Aye, me alone not there.
I want to close it up by just reminding us that it's a revolution of the mind, people. Let's continue to educate each other. Let's spread the knowledge. Let's share knowledge with one another. Iron sharpen iron. Rastafari reality is positive vibration. Bless up, one love.
Yeah, one love. Good night to everybody.
I don't want to message and tell me, boy. What on them